Hello, everyone, and welcome to Play Dice the After Party. My name is Christy Clo, and this is the talkback show where myself and my wonderful castmates and our incredible DM discuss the most recent episode of Play Dicely, our actual D&D, our actual D&D show, our D&D actual play show that airs live here on Twitch, typically every other Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Also, quick shout out to Tim from Tabletop Audio for the music that you'll be hearing if you're watching this as a VOD on our Play Dicely YouTube channel. And if you're watching it live, you should still go to the YouTube channel and hit subscribe and leave a comment and just say hi, you know? Anyways, without further ado, we are discussing episode 39, Pacts Made, Pacts Broken. So,
it was a big Dallis episode.
Yeah. A huge Dallis episode, which I don't know if Dallis knew it was going to be a huge Dallis episode. Like, you obviously had plans of what you were going to do in it, but like...
I thought it might be a bit of a Dallis episode, yeah.
I mean, I don't think much else really happens before
we smell your sword.
I was going to say, I was going to get to that, other than the fact that we do smell... I made everyone go around and smell my sword, which is a normal thing to do, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I did really like that moment just in general, because I felt like it gave everyone like a fun chance to kind of think about like what that would like what it would smell like to them, and everyone's answers were really nice. So
I'm so happy with that magic item. Like, it's so simple, but it's so good. I got it out of Vault of Magic by Kobold Press. Or it might not be a direct. I might not have taken it directly, but I at least was inspired by something in there.
Hey, Kobold Press, you make good shit.
They really do. I think we have all of the Tomb of Beasts books now, and they're cool as hell. So, yeah. Oh yeah. Ryan, you and Monty kind of reconnected a little bit, but he was still very tired from everything. But then plans were made to have our Zone of Truth convo in the future. At that point, I guess, like, how nervous was Gideon about doing the Zone of Truth conversation once Monty had rested up? Because, like, how much did you expect maybe it wouldn't work out?
With everything up until that point, I was like, I'm like 70% sure he's cool. Like, I am leaning that, like, he is totally not involved with this. But I would not be surprised if there was just a little something, just a little, And so the Zone of Truth was the sort of guarantee that I think Gideon definitely needed to have that chat, because honestly, he was sort of just of the mind of like, all right, what's going to go wrong here? It's not going to be big, but what's going to go wrong? So that's the thought process he was having, but nothing went wrong. It was great. Yeah.
I feel like for you and Elowyn, it's just like the small wins, really.
Yes. The big win, there's only going to be one big win. And even then, it's probably not even going to be the win.
Yeah.
It's going to come at a cost of some kind.
It's going to be a resolution rather than a win.
Yes, it's going to be it's going to be an end, not a win.
It's a great way of wording it. I think you guys are both the most, like, set up to have that moment in, like, a story when, like, the hero gets what they want, but it's no longer what they want. Or they get it, but it's like different from what they expected.
Huh. Almost like you guys set off in a certain mindset, and we experience character growth as the story develops.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
none of that, Teni.
Not familiar.
None of that. Now I'm just wondering, like, Gideon's wants are pretty. They're fairly simple, but simple.
Yeah, that's how I feel too, bud.
I want to get my family back and unravel the biggest conspiracy the realm's ever seen.
Well, he's at this point like, family is off the table. I can just save Balesville, if possible. So if my family
That's
is
your
part of
simple
that,
goal.
my simple goal is to root out whatever the fuck is going on in Balesville and figure out the event. Those are my 2 goals for Balesville. Not simple, but simple on paper.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like, 5 words each,
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Simple enough they're
Easy
not
to
planned
write.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a whole town and like a mass conspiracy.
Balesville's got a small
Easy.
population.
Well,
Yeah.
not now.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. What else happened? Oh, very beautiful piece again. Logan can't talk about it, but we've got a new star in the sky for Rhea's dad, which I thought was very sweet. But also now I'm like, stars start going out. Is that like the souls of druids?
Is he gonna be the first one to disappear?
Ooh.
Like,
Oh my god.
youngest
First one in the boat, first one out.
You know what? That
Uh,
that tracks. I like that. That's really
that's
cool.
actually really cool. 'Cause I had never thought of it that way, but that makes sense why the stars go out because it's the druids. Interesting.
Oh, then I wonder what the lore would be behind the star, like a shooting star, like a star that burns bright and dies out. If those exist in your setting, Teni.
I haven't really thought about it,
a shooting
actually.
star could be like Rhea's situation where they were dead. Now they're not.
Or I guess the dying star would be like a reincarnation. Like they're
Ooh.
no longer among the stars; they've returned to the world.
Oh, that's fascinating, and I think that might be canon now.
Yes, my world-building brain is still intact.
Yes, and once more, I don't have to lift a finger.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm glad that like everyone else hadn't put that together either, because I'm like, is that something we already knew? But no, it wasn't. That's good. Great. Okay, Dallas, it's your turn.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute
So-
myself for the rest of the episode.
Can I stall a little longer? I want to go back
Please.
just for a second. So to talk about the smelly sword, everybody got a chance to like go around and smell it. Adam, did you think you were gonna get to participate in that?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, okay, egg can't smell. This will be a nice moment for everyone else, and that's fine.
Too many brunches have been had. I was like, I must include Abe.
I really love that moment.
And
It's so good.
yeah, I mean, despite, the fact that you can't smell it, I was like, I really like the sense, like, that smell is connected to memory. And it's like, even though you can't actively smell it, maybe there's just some memory that gets activated. So I was like, I think that's a fitting way to include you.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. That was a great idea.
When I asked you the question, was there a memory you had, like something you wanted to know about? Was that already something that you had kind of on the docket?
Not really.
Sorry,
It was
I suppose I should preface with, he answered with, was I ever in love, or something along
Yeah.
those lines.
Something stupid like that, yeah.
Some dumb shit. Yeah.
No, it's kind of prefaced by, I don't remember when it happened, but Gideon was talking about, like, had he ever been in love? Had he ever had a partner?
It was after the date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I guess for some reason, that just sort of stuck with me, being like, has Abe ever had a partner? Or, well, has Pascalis, because Abe obviously hasn't. We know
Right.
Abe's entire life. But yeah, it's funny thinking the other questions of, like, I was thinking, like, okay, what painting was Pascalis most proud of, or something like that, but I don't know, the love one seemed the most applicable with how cozy all of the other smells made me feel, so.
Nice.
Also
Yeah,
kind of more
great question.
more meaty. Like, I'm just thinking about like, yeah, I mean, Pascalis could have been a great painter, but I want to know what's going on there because there's something going on, and we'll figure it out. That's the true mystery I'm here to solve. I'll get around to the other two of
Avoid
you,
whatever.
Yeah,
I'm here to
druids, who
figure
cares?
out. Yeah, I'm a shipper at heart, and I'm gonna make this all work out. So, Nell just starts writing like creepy fan fiction about her friends.
Oh,
This is
great.
normal and fine.
Oh,
Hey
God.
Nella, what are you writing there? No.
Nothing. I feel like this is literally like Dallas. Maybe did we not do something similar to this in first year?
Sounds very similar. I recognize these feelings.
I was like, it's like I'm putting ourselves on blast right now.
That is precisely what you're doing.
Anyway, that evening, Elowyn sneaks out of town, and yeah,
Wasn't
I
it a cool
appreciate.
sneak out effect though?
It was
I've
a
been
very
thinking
cool
about that
sneak out.
for ages.
I was really impressed, and the whole time I was like, "What the fuck ability is this that you're using?"
The ability I knew I was gonna lose in 20 minutes. I was like, I better use this.
That blew my mind. So, guys, we gotta also
Mhm.
include context for the people who didn't actually watch the episode. The fact that you
Why
just
are you
like,
allowed spoilers?
what? What's the point of this show at all? But like the fact that you just were able to see through the walls and were like, I teleport there. I was like, my God, the combos. You and
Yeah.
Matt clearly talked about that, didn't you?
No, that was me.
That was
me,
all
baby.
you. You're so fucking clever.
Yeah. Well, I knew I wasn't gonna get another chance to do it, so might as well use it now.
Oh, so freaking cool.
Yeah, in that
Yeah.
moment when you did that teleport trick, I was like, she could have left any time she wanted,
Yeah.
and nobody would have
Yeah.
caught her.
I legitimately
Yeah.
thought like Elowyn is running, like she's
Yeah.
done, she's leaving.
Yeah.
Well, and
No.
Yeah, I feel like there were like more pieces to that as well. I was like, if Nell's in the room, like I have other ways I feel like I could make this work even better. I was so ready to escape. I just
Yeah,
felt like
I,
it might be necessary someday. I was like, there might be a moment where I need to leave and I don't want people to follow me. And I was ready for it.
I had that like nagging thought that was like, what's her next character gonna be?
Oh my God. We will get to that because that was my whole fucking mindset during our conversation. So we'll come back to that. But yeah, because I'm assuming none of us had gone back to watch the secret conversation from the previous episode, right?
No.
Yeah. So obviously, like, we didn't know, like, we just knew something bad had happened with Layla, but didn't know what it was specifically. So I'm like, okay, so you've been called to do something bad. I know that much. And so I thought it was maybe like a self-sacrificing moment, or like you were kind of entering like a weird thing where you're like going to join her, but keep us at a distance. So yeah, I was very curious to be like, uh-oh, what is she doing?
And then, of course, like, there's the real world where Dallis is messaging me, like, between the two sessions. We're like, she's like, I gotta do it. I can't keep this secret this long this time.
Yeah. I refuse to keep another secret.
Stressful business.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
Teni and I have talked more in the last 4 weeks than we ever have in our entire lives.
Yeah, we don't know anything more about each other as people, but dang, do we
But-
sure have this story figured out.
Oh boy, classic D&D life, I guess. All right, so the conversation with Wilela. This is what I have. Wilela. Oh, also, firstly, thank you, Dallis, for fighting for us to be able to listen to that conversation. I really appreciate it.
Well, because truly in my mind, I was like, I know the next thing I'm going to do is tell you all what just happened. So I was like, just
Yeah.
let them listen so I don't have to re-explain the whole thing. Unless that wasn't what was going to happen. I was afraid for a second there.
That you just die outright.
I thought that was a possibility, and I prepped for that too.
Oh boy. Yeah, so I'll go down the bullet points I had from my notes and we'll see if I missed anything. So Layla asks you if you had given any more thought to their proposal, and you said that you won't do that to any of us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then you ask Layla to take your magic back. Layla, of course, gets pissed, tells you that you're replaceable, and that, oh yeah, you'll be considered a loose threat.
Your suffering is unending is, I believe, a direct quote from
Oh,
Layla.
I love that. I did not write that one down, but
Oh,
that
I
is
did.
great. Oh yeah, interesting. That one stuck out to you for some reason.
Weird.
Strange, yeah. Um, yeah. So, and also,
Oh,
to, like,
and that
watch
they
it-
were gonna murder Zarya. That's another thing they said.
Oh yes, and then you have to watch yourself basically if you get in the way of what they're going after. So that's good. Yeah, then I have here. Yeah, they'll still kill your friend to be wary, and then they take your magic and get the fuck out of Dodge. So
That conversation honestly went so much easier than I thought it was going to.
yeah. Yeah, I guess there was really like a possibility that they could have just killed you.
fully 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said this last time, but I feel like Layla was like very kind in the way that this whole thing happened, because it gave me so much time to prep going into it. Like I really got to, and this was also part of the 16-part text message I sent to Teni at 8 o'clock in the morning the day after this episode, where I was like I feel like I have to get ahead of this, because if I let them control this situation, like, and especially like when we just done this thing with Monty in the previous fight, and I was so afraid that whole time where I was like if she pops and they pop into my head right now and they're like, Elowyn, agree to my terms or I'll take your magic right now. Do you think Monty can survive this fight on its own? Like, I'm like, I cannot put myself in another situation where they have the possibility to do that.
Yeah.
Also, I can't sleep because they come to me in my dreams. This is all horrifying. I need to
God.
just like get out of here.
Yeah.
I will never sleep again.
Going into that conversation, like, I'm assuming you kind of considered a lot of different avenues that it could have gone down, but like, what were you most expecting to happen?
I mean, I guess I really don't know what I thought was going to happen, but I think like I wrote down like truths I had to believe, or like rules I had to have walking into that conversation. Just because, again, I feel like so much of like the power they have over me is in like their ability to like manipulate like my emotions. And so I was like, if I just walk in and I'm like, everything they say is a lie, that like gives me so much more power in the conversation. And the other truth is like, I didn't care if they killed me. That was something I had to go in believing. And I don't know, necessarily if that was true or not, but I was like, because like, I was like, what can they threaten me with? Kill me? Sure, fucking do it, Layla. What do I have to live for, really? Kill me, it's fine. And then the other thing I had to believe was that they couldn't hurt you. I was like, I'm pretty sure that they can't interact with the material plane. That was the other thing that I was like, that's a thing that they could manipulate me with. It's like, well, I'll go like, set fire to the inn all your friends are staying in, Elowyn. But I was just like, I had to walk in believing like, they can't do that. Everything they say is a lie. Go ahead and kill me. And then I was like, what can you do? What can you do, Layla?
Yeah. And I guess too, like, that kind of helps you walking in with like, if they can't manipulate the world, they wouldn't actually be able to kill you, right?
Well, I wasn't sure, because they're in my brain. And they've cast magic through me before. So I was kind of like, feels like you could hurt me.
There was a wisdom saving throw that you succeeded on during that conversation.
Oh, shit.
Yes, which is very spooky.
Oh no, it's like trying to give you an aneurysm or something.
I just had a horrible theory, but I'm not going to say it.
Oh, but you have to.
Right, this is after party. Come now.
This is the place for theories. Oh, what's
Come now,
this? I'm
dear
opening my
boy.
desk drawer, and inside I've got a tinfoil hat, and I'm placing it on my head. And don't I look foolish if there's no theory to hear now that the tinfoil hat is on my head?
Put it on. All right.
Tinfoil fedora.
My theory.
No.
Christy.
Stupidest
Should
joke
be
I've ever
ashamed of
made.
yourself.
So fucking stupid.
No, that was
That's
gold.
hilarious.
So stupid.
That was gold.
Well,
Actually, it was tinfoil.
take it back from the neckbeards. I like it.
Oh, I love that so much. Fuck. Okay, what was my theory again? Oh, that's what it was. Okay, so tinfoil hats. My theory. Basically, we got so I'm just thinking. So if Layla is going to make a return, which of course they will, how will they make the return? Will they have a new apprentice? Who will this new apprentice be? I'm just concerned because, as we all know, Layla after being inside Elowyn's head for a while, has got the skinny on a couple of people who are mentally going through some shit.
Ooh.
You know? And who aren't too different
Don't
from
do it,
Elowyn
Gideon.
herself.
Gideon, don't do it.
You know? Like her twin.
No. Ooh, Gideon, don't say that. Ooh.
The
I was
connection
thinking,
the connection with Elowyn, pretty simple to make.
Yeah.
The connection with her
No.
with her sister, much
No.
simpler to make because you basically already made the connection with the being that's the exact same. Physically.
I would
almost.
argue my sister and I are very different.
Well, you're very different, but
Yeah.
physically it's very similar.
We're actually
Makeup.
physically quite different.
Well, the true form we all know is probably very similar.
yeah.
Yeah.
You may
I was
be
thinking about like going after other people who've been underneath the curse. So like Guy from Cannibal Caves, whose
Aw.
name I always forget, which would be so sad. But
Nievin.
and like anyone else.
Valen.
Nievin.
Nievin.
I think.
Um,
Nievin. I think.
Yeah, the elven individual
Yeah.
who lost their voice.
Oh,
Yeah. Or like anyone else, because like obviously they would know that those people are really desperate. So
I mean, have you guys even considered, like, was Elowyn the first?
Oh, there's
I
no
mean,
way
probably
Elowyn was the
not.
first. No way.
yeah, I would
No.
assume not. But I still have questions purely about the whole like you drank from a lay lake or lay river thing that we get into later. I'll put a pin in that one too and come back to it because that's like a deeper
Yeah.
conversation.
But yeah,
that-
anybody
but-
who's been cursed by the stranger at this point, I feel like is a potential option for the next apprentice.
Oh yeah.
Or somebody that
Yeah.
Elowyn
Well,
is close to.
yeah, I think I said this too. Like, I had to seek them out. Like, it was not, they didn't pop into my head. I had to go on a whole journey
That's
to
fair.
get
Where
there.
did you get the information about them in the first place?
From Azaria.
Yep.
Oh, where
So
did
that's
Azaria
neat.
get it? You did
No.
not.
Interesting, huh?
At a
Oh, I'm
farmer's
gonna add
market.
that to my
Yeah.
list. Everything's from a fucking farmer's market. Adding it to my list of things to ask you.
Yeah. Yeah. We maybe should talk to Azaria.
Yeah, because I also have like a couple other things I have to ask you. But anyways, now seems like a time to do it. So I will
I
make a
mean-
note of that.
That's not even something that Logan's gonna have the answer to. Like, I'm just gonna tell you that now.
Okay.
It's just like, there's the Arquette. They have servants, which are sphinxes. Azaria is like, oh, there's been a sphinx sighting near the butte.
Mm,
So someone else
Connections.
has been over there.
right. But
Yeah.
like, I guess in the lore of the world, like, what are sphinxes known as? Like, are they just known as like magic users? Like
Like,
why would Azaria be thinking, oh, that's someone that
'Cause they're-
Elowyn should go seek?
because they're servants of the Arquette.
Oh, okay,
Collectors
so all-
of knowledge, right?
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering. I like don't know what, but is that true for just general D&D lore that they're considered
It's
like knowledge collectors? Or
Kind of.
okay.
It's true in certain canons.
Gotcha. Okay. I will say Layla has yet to give a riddle. And I would really love one.
Are
putting that
you
out
sure Waylila hasn't given a riddle?
I mean, they've definitely had some
It's
things
definitely
that
not
we need
been.
to solve.
Answer me
But I
these
want-
riddles 3.
Yeah. I want a true riddle. What do I have to do to get that?
Well, I
Just
know where you
curious.
can go meet them.
Yeah, we've got time to climb up a butte, right?
Sure. Climb down
Yeah.
this mountain, go climb up a butte.
Or like Breath of the Wild, we can try and like hang glide back to this hang glide from the mountain to the butte.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. So the conversation with Layla goes, I guess, better than expected.
Honestly, I'm not dead.
Yeah, I mean that's I'm
That's
really all you
pretty
can hope
much-
for, really.
It's pretty much. I guess it went like kind of like as good as I could have hoped. I was like, "Hey, take the magic," and they were like, "All right,
You got it.
your suffering's unending. Peace." Well,
Yeah.
fair. Fair enough.
I wonder if. Okay, no, I'm gonna write that down to mention when we get to the appropriate section. So yeah, so then did you? I can't remember if you did anything in between, just like leaving that conversation and coming back to the inn to wait for me.
No, I don't think so. I just kind of sat there for a minute.
Great.
Came back.
Yeah.
Anthony tells us to hydrate.
Thanks, Anthony. I was looking for an excuse to drink my beer.
That's not hydrating.
That's
Opposite.
a non-disclosed beverage in a can.
Beer's allowed?
I don't know. I don't know what they allow in Twitch. There's water in beer.
There is water in beer. In fact, it's mostly water.
It's mead.
You don't show the logo. It's just a red can.
Sure is. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so then you come back to the inn and then wait for me, which I was like really nervous about. I'm like, oh fuck. I get to know about this.
I mean, it's just because you wake up first. I just didn't think I was going to be able to go back to sleep.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm not going to say what I was about to say then. It's fine. So you're like, wow, this is like really meaningful to know that you chose to tell her first.
Oh, no,
it doesn't matter. Okay, moving on.
Elowyn instead waits for Azaria. Nell comes down. Sorry, I'm waiting for Azaria.
Honestly, I feel like that has happened already. And I would just be like, yep, seems right. I'll just sit over here. No biggie. Yeah. Well, I guess Nell doesn't know this, but yeah, Nell appreciated that you had this conversation.
I think you should continue to feel that way.
Great. I will, only because specifically, like, there was a moment from a few episodes ago when we were in New Fugleby where it was, you were telling like the first secret, and I think I tried to say something like to comfort, and like, Elowyn snapped at me, and I was like, I'm doing a bad job. I don't know how to have a conversation with so I was like, never mind, I'll be which is totally understandable. Sucks. Yeah, I like, she's like, Nell gets it. It's just like she's constantly being like, oh fuck, like I don't know if like any help in this situation is going to be like accepted by Elowyn, especially because that was also like I had written that letter to Charity that was about you, and I'm like, I hope I didn't overstep. Like I really don't. So that's why this conversation was meaningful to me, even though I guess it meant nothing to you.
It's not that it meant nothing. I could have hid away and waited.
It's just
everyone was awake.
Elowyn knew the order of events that would happen.
I just know what order people wake up in.
Elowyn's got the gift of foresight.
And we've been traveling together for 2.5 months.
It is like, obviously, Elowyn has gotten through so much character growth. The fact that you right away wanted to tell the group is a marked improvement.
Like, what were my other options? Like, all right, let's go hike on the mountain. By the way,
I mean, I guess you just leaving, right? Like,
yeah, I guess that's true.
Which is what I thought was going to happen. Like during this conversation, the whole time I was super convinced that like you had talked to Teni and you had another character prepared, and I was like, oh fuck, like I don't know if I could just like handle this on my own to keep you to stay, or if I should even be trying to, because like maybe like you're trying to find a way to leave. So that was really stressful.
Oops. Sorry. That was just fully me being too in character. Because again, like I think I had like prepped so much going into this, or I had just been like, she's gonna take my magic, I'm gonna have no magic, I'm gonna leave. I mean, just like from an Elowyn perspective, I think I had like already convinced myself of all of these things to try to like make this whole thing easier, because this all sucked. This was horrible, right? This was not something Elowyn wanted to do at all. I think it's funny that you were like, oh, like I thought this was gonna be a self-sacrifice thing, because that's totally how I felt it was. I was like, this is the most selfless thing Elowyn has ever done, was like make this choice, because I truly might be the first time I've made a choice that was like actively detrimental to myself in the entire campaign.
That's a good point.
Like, you know, because I think Elowyn truly was like, I walk into this, I lose my magic, and I can't continue. And all of these people, like the only friends I've ever had, will continue on, and I will stay here, and I will just be alone again. Very cool.
That being said, though, like in the lead up to this session, like of course, because it was such a high stakes situation for Elowyn, like Dallis and I had conversations of being like, I'm like, this is what I foresee happening based on like how you're feeling and what you're describing to me here. And so I wanted to ensure and like make it plainly clear. I was like, based on what you're doing, this is probably what's going to happen. Like, I don't want you to not enjoy the game or retire the character if that's not what you want to do. So like I began to outline like ideas of what the continuing story might be for Elowyn in this case. And then it was amazing how all the other characters began to rally around Elowyn too, which was so freaking nice and helped make my job easier.
Yeah. No, it was very cute.
Yeah, I don't know if there would have been a situation where we were like, because I think that's the line I was trying to balance during that conversation of like, I don't want to force you to stay if you really aren't comfortable with that. But at the same time, I'm like, I absolutely don't want you to leave. Because that was kind of like paralleling the conversation that we had after the conversation with your nephew.
Balloon.
Right? Yeah, about like being like, don't make that decision for us about whether or not like we want you here. So I think that's something in real life I really hate too. When someone's like, oh, you're better off without me. It's like, I think I get to also have a say in that, right? Like, so that's what I was worried about mainly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was there was so much that has happened outside of these episodes. But these, I think, yeah, Teni and I had a conversation going into this because I didn't know what was going to happen. We did, like, Teni did know that I was going to make this choice because there was no goddamn way I was going to do this without knowing that Teni had some sort of plan on how to keep Elowyn in this game if I was going to do it. But I think, like, yeah, I sent you a message and I was like, look, I don't need to know what happens, but I want to keep playing Elowyn. So that's what I'll give you. And then here's 16 more text messages about how I'm feeling and what I'm going to do.
Well, and it was nice too because I also got to tell you like what the situation meant to me as the DM, also being part of the role play of this scenario of like a clearly abusive and manipulative character in part of the relationship. And I straight up told Dallis, I was like, I hope Elowyn gets out of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is, that did make me feel better as well. Because again, I feel like a lot of times, like, I worry that I'm misinterpreting things, especially when we have these conversations and I'm the only one that hears them. And I'm like, am I like making too big of a deal out of this? Like, am I misinterpreting what's going on? So that conversation we had was very helpful where you were like, well, Layla's a bag of dicks. And I was like, okay, whew, all right, I'm not wrong. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I feel that. Just like a real life conversation thing where I'm like, am I understanding?
Someone confirm for me that I am not wrong.
Yeah, big time. That's good. I think it's like, obviously makes a lot of sense you guys are on the same page ahead of time because I can't imagine being like, oh, surprise.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be a lot to deal with on the fly. Like I was like, the safety of the situation and the importance of like actually enjoying the game moving forward. This conversation is going to be important to have.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you thought I was gonna do, like, before we had that conversation. Did you think I was gonna, like, hold on to this? Did you think I was gonna deal with it right away?
I didn't know. I didn't speculate on what you would do. My job is to be reactionary. I just set things up and go, let's see what happens. And turned out it was one secret too many.
Yeah. I was like 2 sessions ago, I got rid of a secret. I cannot do this again.
That's such an interesting viewpoint that you have, Teni. I like wonder if I would be able to do that as a GM.
I mean, there are some times where I'm like, I can predict that characters will react in specific ways, and I can anticipate a story moving in a certain direction. But there are times where I even like the surprises myself, and it's like, we'll do this, and there are, as a choice-making game, there are the choices where I can foresee things and it helps guide the story. But then there are the things where I just put it in front of you guys and I go, the story needs something with less guidance, more spontaneity, more organicness, and that'll really enhance like a certain beat.
Right.
Such as, presenting the deck of many things as an option, wanting you guys to desperately plant your beans, or just having a social interaction where I don't actually have an idea of the outcome.
That makes sense. We're not going to talk about those damn beans, though.
That's next episode.
Next time.
Yeah. No, one thing that I really like as a DM is when my players look into something that I had no idea that they were ever going to be interested in, so I didn't prep it. So in the moment, I'm immediately like, oh, this is interesting. I like this. And then you come up with an idea and you're like, oh, that's so cool. And then you just start tying things together and you're like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, and then things have implications and you're like, okay, oh my gosh. And then we've got a whole corner of the world planned out.
Yep, it's awesome.
I'm trying to remember. Was it this episode that I gave you the drawing of you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
right.
this
So
conversation.
this episode was like, I've been holding on to 2 really minor things for like 3 weeks, and I'm done with that. So I'm just gonna make sure they're all out there, and then I don't have anything to worry about, because both of them were about you. And I hate holding on to secrets. I'm so bad at it. So, yeah, I think you said that you kind of knew that there was a chance I might have like had that drawing.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
truly, yeah, because when this happened in New Fugalby and Adam asked about what Abe looked like, I also was like, what does Elowyn look like? But I was truly, Dallis was too afraid to ask that question. I don't think I wanted to know what the answer was. And so I was like, it's
Yeah.
fine. We'll just let that go and that'll be okay. But then I can't remember. It was like something said later that I was like, oh, Christy absolutely asked. Oh no.
Yeah, it's because I tried to like send a whisper to Teni, and then you were like, don't whisper me, send it in a message. And I was like, okay, fine. And so I messaged it on Facebook. And then I think at some point you're like, oh, did you want to share the question like during an after party? I'm like, no.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no. Oh dear.
Yeah, because obviously like with Adam's situation, like you prompted that, so that was like I felt more comfortable giving you the results of it because you had wanted to know. But I'm like, I don't think giving this to Elowyn is a good thing. Like I just feel like it's going to be more of like a wound than a boon, I guess.
And I'm glad you knew that, because that was also what I was concerned about when I was like, oh, if you whip this out at the wrong time, I'm gonna freak out on you. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I need to yell at Nell again.
I would hope not. I'm so scared. I hate being yelled at.
I was afraid you were gonna think it was gonna be like a nice little gift, and I was like, it's not gonna be.
No,
Oh God.
I think like I have a pretty good beat on like, for the most part, like Elowyn's. I mean, not all of it clearly, but like as much as I can on like your whole deal. I'm like, this is not gonna be like a fun reveal, because I can't imagine how it would be to be like, oh, this is what you truly look like. Sorry that you're not there. Also, I was surprised too, like when Teni and I were talking about it, because obviously like Teni was like, you need to get input from Dallis and like what you look like, but you mentioned the abuela from Encanto, and I was like, fuck, that is older than I kind of was thinking. It makes sense, but oh no, like that was really scary for me to hear too. I'm like,
is that another conversation Teni and I have had since then? Yes. Yes, that's another conversation we've had.
Indeed.
Great.
Was it also a surprise to me? Yeah. Does it make sense? Also, yeah. Unfortunate.
Yeah, an unfortunate yes.
Unfortunate.
Oh god.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's
Yeah,
not
so
fun.
I
but
thought- It's not fine. It's Christy. Is this that bit from Mean Girls that I keep playing in my head? Where Janice goes, "It's fine."
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I can see why you like attached onto that so much. Yeah. So even then, that felt like risky to even give it to you at all, because I was like, I don't know if this is like the right move, but I mean, it felt kind of like all like cards were on the table at that point. So I was like, well, we're being open, so here you go.
No, I think like of all times, I think it was a good time to do it, because we were already like, you know.
Yeah.
It made sense, and I like I said, I was worried about how you might reveal that to me, so I thought that was a good way of doing it.
Yeah. And then also, I don't remember when I did this either, but the letter to Charity, did I tell you about that in this same conversation? Yeah. Did you know that that was what I'd written about to her?
No, I actually probably thought you had written about Abe, I think.
Oh. No, but he got to talk to her, so I figured it was good to go. That was just like something I had in my mind, like I think it was truly after like you after you snapped at me, I was like, this is the wrong avenue. I like we're like you know, kind of useless like words are not what you need. So like, what is a line of action I can pursue? And you didn't get to talk to Charity, so maybe there's a chance that she can help us out. So yeah.
I appreciate it.
Cool. All right, we'll give you a break for a little bit, Dallas.
Wow.
I think, because we gotta talk about Gideon and Monty. Got Monty some new clothes. Pretty good. It's funny, you felt like so like you really wanted to keep his like ratty old clothes. So, like, if you could, I was like, just get him some new ones. I think it's fine.
Gideon, like, pretty much everything he's wearing isn't really from Balesville anymore. After having been in numerous fights, the only thing he really has from Balesville is his horse now. So Gideon understands, like, just like, you know, if you can take a piece of it with you, then you can. So
Yeah.
that was why he was sort of obsessed with that. So any small piece of home you can take with you, take with you.
That makes sense.
Because you're going to be gone a while, so...
Yeah. But at the very least, now you guys have each other as pieces of home, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The boys are back. But now he's going to go and work for us at the keep. That's awesome. I love that. My boy's employed. My boy's well-dressed.
Yeah.
My boy is taken care of.
You guys kept pushing for freaking Tyrone to be the person, but I'm like, we had a conversation that it should be Monty. I think it makes more sense because Monty's not in school trying to get an education.
Well, we were talking about Major Domo, which is like person of the house. Monty is like the perfect person to tend horses and like take care of any sort of that stuff. So
I guess.
I don't know.
I kind of thought he would be running the keep. But...
I don't know. That's entirely up to Teni.
Why is it up to me? I'm not a player.
Because I'm not Monty.
Well, if you ask Monty, you'll have to ask Monty, and he'll be like, the fuck?
I guess
Major
we can
what
just
now?
say we don't have one for now, but it's not even functional yet because they haven't started fixing it up. So
Precisely, yeah.
yeah.
But when it is done, when it is finished, I'll have Drax shoot a message to Monty.
Perfect. Or we might just be there ourselves, depending how
Or,
things
yeah.
go.
Or that,
So-
yeah.
Yeah. So Monty comes down and we have breakfast together. I don't think anything else I don't think there was any major conversation between all of us yet, right? Until Elowyn came back down. At least I don't have anything written down, so I assume not.
Drac made a bunch of hats.
Yes, and a little. The only thing I wrote was that he makes Groba a little fur vest to wear. So that was really important.
Was it around this point after breakfast was had that that Abe ended up going and drawing by the river?
That was before the Zone of Truth chat with...
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's coming up with Monty.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monty. Jeez.
Yeah. So then it was just back to Dallas, unfortunately. But then you had to tell the whole group what you had just told me, which was great because, again, I feel like I personally wanted everyone to reiterate and make you stay. So that was good. But then, yeah, Rhea reveals that Layla's old book that you have could become your spell book. And that it seemed like it already is/was a spell book, and it was just that Layla had some kind of extra stuff they were imbuing into it. And that the rituals that are in it are still usable. And that the magic in it was perhaps connected to you and not to Layla. Was that something you're expecting? Because I feel like this is the first like mention that there might be like magic that's inherently yours and not theirs.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had seen it before with the foresight stuff, and with there's 2 spells that I took from a feat that we have seen Elowyn have their own magic. So, like, it has come up in the game before, but yeah, I think I was expecting like the rod and the book to disappear probably when our pact was broken. So, no, I wasn't expecting the book to play a larger role going forward.
I feel like you were probably pretty like reticent to use it as well
Yeah.
at first.
Yeah.
'cause you
I
just
was like, I
assumed,
don't want
it
any
was
of this,
connected.
actually.
Yeah.
I was going to
Yeah.
burn it. So I'm glad we did realize what it could do.
Yeah. So did we figure out at some point during this, like, can it actually be used as a proper spell book now?
I think
Or-
that kind of happened when we talked with Charity.
Charity? Okay. Great.
Yeah, because it was like
Oh yeah.
Azaria going like, there's potential, and then later on in the day, you guys are like, maybe Charity would know. Let's
Sorry, what
get
was
the
that?
Grand Arcanist.
And which character are you impersonating right now?
That is,
Yeah, just-
Or is it just us as
It's
a
just
group?
the
That's
group
how
is
you hear us
Yeah.
talk?
Yeah.
this is my amalgamation for the Seekers of Sycamond, yes.
It's
Hello.
the one
Sounds
brain
right.
cell we all share.
You have reached the Seekers of Sycamond. We're out finding the
So
brain.
true. I think it's very on like D&D brand to just be like, oh, we have the greatest wizard in the land, like at our beck and call.
Look,
It's so fucking
how
stupid.
many...
That's just
I,
D&D.
you know, how many people have drank from a lake like that? I feel like maybe Charity wants to know about it.
I mean, in general, like I think our group's pretty interesting, and so it makes sense to me that Charity would be like invested, you know?
Yeah, I mean, also, yeah, you
So-
guys are actually like a superb group of individuals who are a lot more skilled and talented in ways that most of the general population would never be able to understand. So it does make sense.
Yeah. So there. I'm just thinking so much about like in campaign 2 of Critical Role when they just like had Essek, who they were just called to be like, hi, can you teleport us here? And it's like truly this guy has so much else going on.
And he absolutely loved that role.
He really did, yeah. But hey, it all worked out in the end. So ooh, spoilers. He and one of the other characters are a couple now. So hey, maybe that's gonna happen with Charity and Abe. So if we're just like following the theme, you know. Again, I'm not gonna let this die. I'm gonna figure out who it's meant
This
to
is why I
be.
thought you were writing love letters to Charity instead of asking for help from me.
I don't think I know any of like the
I'm actually
Charity-
confused about what Elowyn knows versus what Dallis knows about all of this, to be honest.
I don't think we
I don't think you guys
any
know
of the-
crap. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think so either.
because like even like because I wrote that letter before I gave Abe the picture of himself. It was just a very like perfectly timed that they had that conversation prior. And even in that conversation, like I don't know if I was told a whole lot about Abe's whole situation.
Well, Abe hasn't told anyone really about anything that was in the journal because he told Charity he wouldn't tell anyone. So
Yeah.
he's keeping that to himself.
Yeah, that seems right. So yeah, I think I know very little. So I can't meddle quite yet. But you can expect it in the future for sure. I love to meddle. Oh yeah, and then Rhea walked you through casting a spell. So that was very exciting. I
Would
really
have just
enjoyed
been one
seeing,
of the ritual spells, right?
Yeah, I just enjoy seeing Azaria go like full teacher mode, especially like with you, because it just feels like that's kind of like how it should be, you know. Like
It's actually very cute, yeah.
yeah, it's just a very sweet moment.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
Logan in person the other day and I was like, Logan, you were so helpful in the session you weren't there. You just taught me so much.
Well, no, Logan was here for this one though.
Sorry, I'm skipping ahead. It's the next episode.
Oh, the next one. Yeah. But I mean, this was the seeds for it, so
Yeah.
yeah. Did you have anything else to say about telling the group about everything and their reactions?
No, I don't think so. I think it made sense that like Azaria and I work together. I can't remember when we start working with swords, but that I wasn't expecting to have happen.
Me
I guess that's
That
neither.
was
I thought
yeah.
it was so fun, and I loved how
Very
like
cute.
I also really enjoyed like the fighting in the street bit.
Yeah, that was so silly and good. Yeah, so the next thing I have is the Zone of Truth chat with Monty. So yeah, I weaseled my way into that only because I thought maybe my sword would be useful, but I didn't really need to use it. I was just like, well, just in case. But
I should also add a caveat to that sword that like you can't be like 50 meters away having a conversation to somebody and have it work still.
yeah, well, I was
What
in
if
the
you
room
wafted
though.
away though? Just
Gust of wind.
yeah.
I'm assuming, yeah, like it has to be like what, within like 10 feet, like a
Yeah,
normal
yeah, like a
conversation?
5 foot
Yeah.
away conversation. Yeah.
I assume that was fine. Like I was in the room, so I figured like that would make sense.
No, no worries. I'm just thinking
but
if
for the
you
future.
decide to get more creative. Yeah.
Just you're like preventing it now, so I don't get any weird ideas.
Yeah, I'm just gonna float this idea out here just in case.
That's fine. You're just gonna force me to get even weirder.
Video contract signed.
Yeah. So, this whole part starts with Gideon kind of reassuring Monty about the use of magic because it is such like a non-thing in Balesville. But Monty does agree to allow the spell to be cast, which was good. How are you feeling going into this conversation, Ryan?
Hey, buddy.
Ah,
How you doing?
I'm
Brian?
sorry, I was clipping a thing.
Oh, that's fun. We are actually just like having a conversation that's specifically about you now. So if
Oh,
you,
I'm sorry. We were talking about your sword, and I was like, I have time. So, what? Oh, fuck.
Well,
what
there you
was the
go, Ryan.
question?
You've got another clippable moment right there.
Well, there
Yeah.
you go. Yep, that's fine.
if you want to save it though till after we have, like, I can move on. We can talk about Abe by the river because that was really beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, the Zone of Truth with Monty, I don't think it wasn't that.
clipping
It wasn't that big of a
Mafiri.
moment.
I was clipping your hilarious joke.
Oh, then it's okay then. If I'm
Yeah.
being really funny, we can pause it and
Permit
clip
me
it.
this mistake, please.
Yeah. So permitted. If you're done kind of highlighting how funny I am. We
Yeah,
can
you've had
talk
your time.
about-
I think we're good.
Okay, good. So let's talk about Monty and the Zone of Truth. So I'm assuming you didn't hear anything I said. So you reassure Monty about the casting of the spell because magic is not a thing in Balesville. And he agrees to have it cast on him. I think I asked you a question and then I forgot what it was. So it doesn't matter
I think
now.
it's just how are you feeling going into this
yeah,
conversation?
I guess thank you. How are you feeling?
Just terrified. I was confident. Again, I had that like 70%, like this is gonna go well, but 30%'s a big number. All right, that's no number to slouch at. Jeez, yeah, as somebody who plays Cthulhu, God, 30%. Boy, does that show up a lot. So, yeah, I was terrified, and then of course I was also very concerned because I didn't realize just how attached I'd become to this man, despite never actually getting to meet him in character yet. I just wrote a little bit of his backstory, and then I was like, I like this guy a lot. Let me write a little more things about Gideon and him, and then I just got super attached. Sort of like how I got super attached to Amdus. I was just like, I'm gonna write some things, and oh shit, there he goes, I'm attached. There we go, great. So, yeah, I was very concerned, but overall, I'm very thankful of the outcome. And there was a moment where, fuck, I can't remember the exact moment it was, but
I think I kept pretty good notes during this part. So if you want to go down all the questions asked and his responses, I can do that.
that'd be awesome. Yeah.
All right. So first, what happened with the Oturian Knights? The people in Balesville became so anti-ascendant, that their leadership asked them to leave because of the rising tension. People
That's
had
bad.
also hired, not great. They had also hired some cleansing breath mercenaries, but they were called away. So
Yeah, why? I wonder why they were called away.
probably because Baz is up to some bullshit.
I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like maybe Baz was actually part of the crew that was called in there, and then he was like, "Fuck, are you all doing?" And they were like, I'll never tell." And then he was like, "Well, I'm gonna go hunt some dragons. See you, nerds." And then he left.
And he was like, "Well, I never tell anything either, so I'll
But
leave
we
you
have
to
so
it."
much in common, guys. This is what drag feels like. Fuck, this sucks. I'm
You
leaving.
guys stay there not telling me anything. I'll be over here not telling you anything.
And like that, we can exist in harmony.
Yeah, well, we don't know enough about the timing of everything because when we were in Robar, Balloon? Yeah, Balloon told us about like the people who had killed the dragon, which we assume was Boz. And I think there was a time associated with that, but I can't remember it now to like map it out. But so we don't know when exactly the Cleansing Breath mercenaries were called away and like when they were there. So that could all be kind of like happening around the same time. And I'm not so convinced that like Boz, if he was in Baylessville, would be like, "Oh, this is bad news." It might be right up his alley because it seems like he's into something not good.
I mean,
So
the Cleansing Breath is also a large faction.
Yeah.
so maybe it wasn't him at all. It was just others. And I think maybe they got called back because Boz has some other strings that he's pulling.
Well,
Do with the freaking Tempest Expanse.
I think Boz is a string that is being pulled by somebody else whom we've not met yet. So I am also curious to learn about the Cleansing Breath when we get the time.
And I don't even entirely think that like whatever's happening with Boz is inherently related to what's happening with the Cleansing Breath. I think he's just like working with them out of convenience. That's my theory, at least. Because I think it's like it's something else. And maybe he's trying to like influence them now to have something with more power, but I don't know. That's why when we talk to the freaking elders at Darrowcarth, we're gonna get some answers because it doesn't seems odd.
Hopefully. Gotta get our best interrogation mitts on, you know?
Yeah.
It also, to me, sounds like some people
We
might
just
need to
arrived.
review what was happening with Boz when you first met him.
Yeah. Well, he was
supposed
like
to be their new leader. Eventually.
yeah, he's being groomed for leadership.
Yeah.
So who is in charge of that process?
That's what I'm saying. Like I think it's like again, maybe it is Cleansing Breath specifically, but my assumption, like the way I see things going, is that either the elders of Darrowcarth assigned Boz some task that Drek is not aware of, or he stumbled into something on his journey, and like him becoming a leader of the Cleansing Breath is just like a pawn in this game, like another group to have power over.
Do you know what would be wild? And put your hats on, baby.
Ooh.
What
Never
if
took it off.
What if the leader of the Cleansing Breath is somebody from Darrowcarth who was like excommunicated because they don't like dragons?
That would be very interesting.
Wouldn't that be fucking wild? That would be nuts. But
I mean, yeah, but we'll have to do some more research next episode because like if it's truly so rare that anyone leaves this village, that anyone who has, it's either one, everyone knows about it, or two, nobody knows about it because it's not spoken about.
and that's the money right there.
So I think there might be something to dig into there. If that's even like what the thing was, if it wasn't someone else left. And maybe we'll find out
Yeah.
with the conversation, but
Yeah, that'd be wild. That'd be cool. Someone who has like, because I just wonder like why choose Baz? You know, like don't get me wrong, he's capable. He's definitely capable, but it's just like, surely there are other capable members as well.
yeah.
So
Do
like,
we know, is it a thing in Darrowcarth that they like get called by Fish Talk to do it, or the elders choose someone? Because it is such a rare thing
To what?
to leave the village.
Basically unheard of. Like
Right.
that's not. There is no protocol due to the fact that as far as you guys are aware, that Boz and Drac are the only ones who've left.
Right. Do we know? I'm assuming Drac has told us, and I just can't remember. Like, if it was like the Elder specifically assigned Boz.
Drac doesn't know.
Oh, we have a lot to ask them about next week.
Yep.
Or you think they're gonna tell us?
Nope.
No, but that in itself will be telling, right?
We're gonna zone a
Wow.
I know, that's kind of like
slap it down.
And it's hard because obviously like Drac is the one that needs to be he's the most insightful person, but will he be in the right mindset to like be sussing things out?
Well, like, they have no obligation to tell us. We're
I know.
a bunch of foreigners.
Yeah,
They have
well, I know
no
that, but
obligation to speak with us.
Also that.
yeah. Well, they will speak with Drac because they sent him out and he needs to like report as to why like he's back without Boz now. So I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be one of those things like where he like maybe we'll ask questions and they won't give us answers, but maybe he'll be able to like see that there's something shifty going on, and at least we can use that as a jumping off point.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
we might not even be allowed to talk to them.
Yeah.
That's true.
They might not let us in the room, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. It's you have a familiar now, Dallis.
Mhm.
It is.
Next
You're familiar
episode.
in.
That's next episode.
Next
I know we
episode.
can't really talk about, but man, oh man, I'm excited. As someone who uses their familiar a great deal.
Oh my god, you're gonna have to
Okay.
tell me how to use this thing appropriately.
Oh, I
familiars
have.
are so much fun.
Yeah, I'll give you some best practices in a
That
little
would
bit.
be very
I had
You
to
basically
explain.
just snuggle it.
That's what my
Yeah,
plan was.
That's about it. Like,
That's the only reason I wanted it.
I had to explain to Dallas why there's like an hour-long ritual casting time associated with it.
No, it was the material components. I was like, why do you need material components for this like first level spell? And you were like, so you don't just send them on suicide missions. And I was like, I would never.
Yeah.
Oh,
You would be surprised how many people just send their familiars
yeah,
to go in
I
and
get
die.
I get it now.
Yeah, I don't ever use mine in battle, but I use him for recon a great deal. So, but he's also a bird, so it's a little bit easier to send him. That's my eyes.
Mhm.
And I'm short. I'm a halfling, so he can give me a better perspective.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Yeah. As somebody who's like
so-
had familiars before, I guess the only tip I can really give is like whatever your character does, have them help. Have them be an assistant of some kind.
yeah.
So
Very
like,
boggy.
yeah, like Miles was a detective, so Spike was his assistant, his investigative assistant, and the family pet because he was a family man. So whatever your character is, just have them accent that.
All right, going back to the interview with Monty. The next thing was, have you heard the name Carjack Mithril Coat? He hasn't recently, and he only associates it with like what everyone else does, like him being an old hero, essentially, but doesn't
Yeah.
have any modern association. So that's good. And have you heard the phrase "May the midnight sun rise" or used it yourself? No to both. Have you seen any large bugs around Balesville? Not recently, but has a memory of seeing one of them attacking people during the event.
Yep.
And I just like have him confirm on the drawing I did, and it's the bugs. So that's good. It's kind of like a piece of the puzzle that we think we kind of knew was there, but
It's been
it
confirmed.
reaffirms that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that dream that Gideon had ages ago, where the bug like crawled up into his bed, might not have been false.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Whoa, yeah. Jesus, that was wasn't that in Balesville? Or was that like,
Yep.
nearby? Yeah.
No, that nightmare you had was in Starcross.
Oh, Starcross. Right, it was when we were on the way, I think, to Balesville.
Right.
We were just setting out. We had made the choice, and Gideon's past was like, "Hey, buddy,
Mm.
remember this place you haven't gone to in forever?"
Yeah.
So
And then really interesting, the next question was, what was Monty's experience with the event? So he said he and Gideon went out to collect medicine, and it felt like the time that they were away from the village was abnormally stretched. Upon returning, he and Gideon split up. Monty returned home and saw the bugs attacking people, and he and his parents hid together. Once it was calmer, he went to Gideon's house, which was destroyed. He saw the bodies of both of Gideon's siblings, apparently, and he couldn't find Gideon and assumed that he had been killed by the bugs.
Yeah.
So that's like the clearest, I think, answer we've honestly gotten to the events. Like, everyone else has been so vague. So
Yeah.
at least we have one kind of like really clear perspective on it.
Yeah. That also increases my that increased my confidence in Monty like tenfold. Like the fact that his story was like, this is what I remember.
Yeah, like
You
straightforward.
were gone. Like
Yeah.
yeah. And then that was the point where I was in character and I was like, yeah, Gideon's done. He can't ask any more questions. He's toast. So I just passed it over to you two, and then you had your own questions.
Yeah. So yeah, that's very interesting. I don't think it helps me specifically have any greater comprehension about the event, but I think
You
it's
and
gonna
me
be a long
both.
time till we have anything resembling that. But
Yeah. Yep. No,
Uh,
Teni, you've done a magnificent job with this.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, when I wrote Gideon, I wrote him because I never got to play a Cthulhu character and in a Cthulhu game, so I was like, you know what? I want to play a Cthulhu character in D&D. So that was where he started. So that you've done marvelously.
Yeah, I find myself surprising. Like I'm not a horror guy. Like I don't like horror films. Like I'm too much of a chicken. But I feel like I've become very proficient with horror in D&D, oddly enough.
It's very fun. See, because when you're running the game, you're the scary thing, so you don't have to be afraid.
And also, I understand what makes me scared, and I'm
And
scared all the time.
That's a bonus. So
hot tip for all you DMs out there: have anxiety. Easy. Teni, you should start watching Never After,
Oh,
the new Dimension 20 season, because it's entirely horror season.
I
So you can see
actually don't know that I do want you to watch it. 'Cause it's very spooky.
it's quite spooky, yeah. But yeah, you can see more of like Brennan's style of horror. Again, more of the kind of, is your arm weakest at the elbow or at the shoulder?
oh,
That
I
kind of
love
energy.
that line. Yeah, that was awesome.
I can't.
So
I find
good.
myself thinking about that all the time. I'm just like, what a question to be asked. I'm like imagining being asked that in this game, being like, oh god.
yeah, that is a visceral question. I am shuddering
Yeah.
already.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So the rest of the questions were pretty straightforward after that part. Just that I put, what are your parents doing? I'm assuming that was what are Monty's parents doing? Is my assumption, but
yes.
yeah. So they're still in Bellsville. They seem on board with everything. Great.
Yep. 2 more parents to throw into the mix. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I was curious to know if Gideon's parents were always there after the event, because that has never added up to me at all. Monty said that he thought they were dead, but they eventually moved back in and started to rebuild. And this would have happened 2 months after the event, he said.
Yep.
And this is, I know, it's not adding up to me here because then I was wondering, like, when did Gideon return? Truly, like, a month after? So I thought it was like a year after that you would come back to Valesville.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you are an unreliable narrator, but
Yeah. Gideon has come to the realization that he is not a reliable narrator as well. So he's like, time, throw it out the window.
Yeah.
My parents left. That's what matters. They weren't there, and I came back at some point, and they weren't there. So probably the
Yeah.
case. But when was that? Don't know. A couple weeks later? Gotcha.
Well,
My head canon is that the two Gideon's parents are actually 2 bugs. One of them's just wearing a wig, the other's wearing like a mustache,
yeah.
and they're wearing farm clothes and like flawless disguise somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Perfect.
none of us clocked that when we
No.
met them.
This
Perfect
Yeah.
recreation.
even Drac. Perfect visual Drac.
Well, we were like level 2 back
Yeah,
then, you know?
exactly.
We weren't as good as we are now.
And we were just like, well, they're farmers. They can look.
It looks good to me.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
I mean, like, and of course, like, Ryan says Gideon went back to Balesville and, like, visited home. But did you, though? Like, did the
Precisely.
event ever really stop for Gideon? Because, I mean, like, you guys even
fuck.
experienced weird things when you were in Balesville.
Yep.
Gideon walked to his home and was never present for any of that.
Yep. Yep.
That's fascinating. I went
Yep.
back to my notes from the conversation with your parents, but we didn't get any specific times
Yeah,
from them.
'cause-
So
Gideon could have thought he went back. Maybe
Oof.
maybe he dreamt it. Maybe he almost did and didn't make it there. Or, you know, but the thought that he was going to do it stuck with him and he never did.
Maybe, maybe you convinced yourself that you did.
Yep.
oh god, that was brutal.
Yep. I wrote a what I did write for Gideon's backstory was fucking harrowing.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, yeah.
So yeah, the last one is he didn't know who the diadact was. He didn't know the name Eliahim, which I guess that's my misunderstanding of how important a role they had in the village. I thought they were like a bigger like named individual in the village, but that's clearly not.
I think in
Right.
most villages they would be, but because it was
Okay.
Balesville, where magic is not so highly valued, I think they were just like anybody else. And the fact that, honestly, Elia probably kept the title on the down low because people were so distasteful of magic. So,
Right.
yeah, so the fact that Monty didn't know makes total sense to me.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, to add some
Um,
clarification to the role of the didact within the Arcanet, like a lot of the settlements within the Ascendancy, a lot of the higher population ones anyway, would likely have a didact there to like teach, whether that is like general subjects or specifically like theories of magic and whatnot to those who are actually interested. But also didacts are researchers who go out in the field. So like there are those who teach and then there are those who go out and kind of like the Sphinxes for the Arcanet. They'll go out and gather knowledge. In the case of Elia, they were clearly sent to Balesville as a teacher. But also in addition to that, because of Balesville's reputation of anti-magic sentimentality, but also combined with Gideon specifically having that soul scar, she was practically just sent to be his tutor. So not a lot of people
Okay.
in Balesville likely would have known her.
Fascinating.
Oh, also, I don't know if we've chatted about this, Teni, but fascinating. I love the choice you made with Elia to like go down the bounty hunting route of her own like accord and everything like that. Like that is such a she is very much so Miles's daughter. Like, you know what I mean? Just my dad wants me to do this, but you know what? Yeah, he's dead. Like he can't stop me. So yeah, that
I
was
did it.
so.
Yeah. I did it while they would have approved. Now that they can't disapprove.
Honestly, I think like even in the afterlife, if there is any way that Miles could see that she was doing that and she made that choice, I think he'd be like, "All right, kid, like, right on." Sorry, but yeah, he just didn't want her getting involved with the shit he was involved with because that shit was fucked. Being an assassin is not a good job.
Ask
Depends.
Sarze.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some people, I'm sure they love it. So, yeah, the last question for Monty was just, like, is there anything else relevant that's happening in Balesville? He just kind of confirms that he believes that he was let out intentionally as kind of to be bait for us, which we already kind of assumed. He also asks if anyone can listen in during a sending spell.
Yep, which is
That sucks.
fun. That's a fun piece of information that we
Yeah.
had a little preview of in episode 7. Or
Yeah.
is it 6?
Yeah.
6 or 7.
Which we don't really know the answer to that, do we? Because even like outside of this game, I don't know the answer to that.
Well, here's the deal. So mechanics-wise, if you're going purely by spells, no. But if you're a DM that is worth your salt, you're gonna fucking ruin those. So you're gonna say, huh, that's a neat little thing that's unavoidable. I'm gonna just avoid that.
Yeah. That's a little tidbit that has stuck in my head for the last year and a half. It's just like every once in a while, I'm just like, what was that? What was that thing that listened in on Azaria and I's conversation?
Yep.
And so it was very fun to hear this come up again. I'm like, oh yeah, still relevant. Okay.
Yep.
Neat.
And both times would have been in Balesville.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. There's something there. Something is listening, and I don't know what the fuck it is.
Just like some
Something is listening.
eldritch. What was that creature you told me about, Ryan, when we were at the coffee shop? Like right after some episode of yours, you were telling me like that creature that like it's like a D&D creature that can make be over a village and like puppet everyone in the village or
the
something.
false Hydra.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oof.
you told me about that. I was like, oh fuck, that's so scary.
Yeah, the
Oh
false
my-
Hydra is a very neat creature. You should look it up if you haven't.
Oh yeah, there's
Oh,
plenty of
yeah.
videos online. People have covered plenty of information about it.
It's spooky.
So spooky.
The few photos I looked at, I was like, I don't like this at all.
Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
Yeah, like-
What- I feel like it was like some sort of like Reddit creation, and then everyone was just like, "This is terrifying, and we love it. It is now
yeah,
something
that is,
everyone knows. It is legend."
Yeah, that's the
Love
thing.
it.
It's not an official monster, but I wish it was. It's so good.
I see. Yeah, something like, because I still feel like there's some sort of like a Lumberite connection to Balesville, so there could be just some sort of extra dimensional being there.
Could be the
I
stranger.
Could be the stranger. Who's to say? Could be literally. Could be Malden. We don't know. Could be
Yep.
anyone.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
I just don't know
It's all
enough,
bad. Bad,
crazy,
bad.
crazy. Yeah. Brutal.
Yes, everything is fine. People were dying a minute ago, but they've stopped now, so everything's fine.
What?
Oh, about that so much. I mean, no, you're totally right. Moving on.
Please
Abe
ignore the
has a
smoke.
nice
That was
moment.
due to a recent explosion, but everything is fine. All is well.
Oh boy.
Dallis, aren't you glad you skipped therapy for this?
Okay, I got it in earlier.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Actually glad that you're feeling emotionally raw and vulnerable for this.
Not today. Earlier, a few days ago. Absolutely not.
Fair. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to say vis-a-vis Balesville or the conversation with Monty?
I feel like we're starting to make some progress on it, but progress on Balesville means more questions, which means that we unfortunately are set back. Like every step forward is a step back with Balesville, I feel like. So, like we are making progress, but eventually they're gonna run out of distance to get away from us. So
The metaphor
We'll
that
find
just
the
came
answers.
to mind is that we're sitting inside a large hourglass and sifting through sand. And every once in a while, I find a grain of sand that is relevant, but so much more is like pouring out of our hands, and we're running out of time.
that is a beautiful way to describe our situation.
Yeah.
Are you sure you didn't Dungeon Master before, Christy? What the hell? All right.
He's dabbled.
No, I am a story.
Alright.
I've dabbled. I'm a
Okay,
storyteller though.
gamer. That's fine.
Yeah. Balesville pisses me off a little bit because it's like I want at least like any lead that feels actionable. Because other things I feel like I'm like, oh, I can kind of like piece things together. I can't piece shit together with Balesville.
I
So annoying.
love Balesville. I love it. I was a big fan of the stories where you try to comprehend the incomprehensible and it just doesn't fucking add up. and then you die. I love it. Yeah, I love those stories. So
You
know
do
what?
math and it kills you.
You read
That's-
about it. You read the wrong book, and you go down a rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you're in a cult lair and you're dead. Yeah, just cosmic horror stuff. Love those stories. So
Amazing.
I feel like every time we get a little bit more on this Balesville situation, I'm always like, when's the rug pull coming? When's it happening? When we gonna get absolutely rug pulled by Kardrak, who's secretly a dragon or something? I don't know.
Oh my god.
Oh, I had a tinfoil hat idea
Oh, good.
specifically about Kardrak.
And being a
Amazing.
dragon.
Patience specified she saw multiple outcomes, multiple realities during the event, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What if this is a different, dimensions Kardrak?
That's yeah.
Who never lived through
Oh.
the
Yeah.
desolation. He just showed up and was like, everything I knew is gone. This ascendancy kind of sucks. What is happening?
Oh, fuck that.
And maybe in that
Yo.
alternate dimension, like, this is a bit probably too over the top, but like dwarves and elves have opposite lifespans, or something like that. So he's not actually
Whoa.
that old.
That's
But again,
wild.
the tin, the foil,
The hat.
the bonnet.
The bonnet.
But I mean, that's like really similar to what I was saying
Theory.
before about like if that is how we're. I mean, who's to say? And Denny won't tell us. But if that's how we're intended to read what Patience said about the event, and if maybe it was just like a reading of like her own abilities, I don't know. But I still am wondering. I'm like, everyone saw different things. Maybe it was like a convergence of timelines, and then everyone got shifted. So I
One
don't
reality to the right.
Wait, Adam.
yeah, or like
that-
or multiple and everyone's shunted and it's all
Well, Adam, if to jump back to the tinfoil, if this is a different Kardrak, would that mean that the thing that happened to Kardrak didn't happen to Kardrak? You remember the thing?
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean, it'd be a different timeline.
cut that
Yeah.
out. Hey.
Talking in half
You have to tell us.
speak. Yeah.
Tell us or get off my stream.
Not only is the DM vague as hell, but now half the cast is vague as hell.
Yeah, I don't want.
So unhelpful.
Only about a key detail that has massive implications that none
Yeah,
of the player
that's
characters are aware
fine, dude.
Is it in
Go
the
watch the lore stream.
Okay. Again, I cannot stress. I have watched the lore stream.
Yeah.
I just have a bad memory.
We gotta go take notes of the lore stream.
Yeah, you
Okay,
gotta-
Christy, you and I, let's go.
Apparently.
This is our
Watch and
Christmas.
note-take.
This is our
Oh,
Christmas
fun.
project. You watch the first
Here.
half. I'll watch the second half. We'll take notes. We'll bring them together. It's
You
gonna
have
be fun.
homework
We got
now.
this.
Oh.
I've
I
been
love
working
that.
on the pre-campaign graphic novel, so when it comes out, I'll just give it to you guys.
Oh, please. Good
Oh,
news.
Okay,
yeah.
fine. I'll spill. All right, Kardrak bit the dust, as did a lot of people at the hands of some doppelgangers, and that's where the
Were they doppelgangers or were they changelings?
they were some sort of shapeshifters, but yeah,
There were
some
multiple
shapeshifty.
types of shapeshifters running.
Denny's silence tells me everything I need to know.
Precisely.
Sorry,
Yeah, so
I was
they
muted.
So Adam's character in that campaign and a few other people met their grisly end at the hands of some shapeshifters, and Kardrak Mithorcote was one of them. And he died so hard that he came back and fought in the Battle of Brulbar as a ghost.
Yeah. But crucially, the people that died were body swapped. So
Yes.
that they still, at least in my character's case, he thought he was still the person he had always been, but he was in fact occupying the body of this changeling or doppelganger, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And there was something that had occupied Kardrak's body, even though Kardrak had been killed.
Yeah.
Or rather, somehow, Kardrak had a body. It was a different entity that was existing within it.
Yeah.
Is this knowledge anywhere in
No.
like
This is all meta
major
knowledge
lore
to you guys.
implications.
Yeah.
No, this knowledge
Major
is nowhere.
Like-
changes to the way things work, even within the ascendancy. It goes all the way to the top.
Like, okay,
Wow.
so your characters like knew this happened. I'm assuming like someone like Charity would have known this happened, right? So like
Saying that our
this-
characters really knew this happened is a bit of a stretch. We were not.
We found out.
We found out roughly, but the person who had the capacity to really understand what happened died at the end. So everybody who had like the information but not really the knowledge of how to use it or apply it were the people left standing. The Logan's character is the one who
Yeah.
could have done something with the information.
So I'm just trying to figure out for me to eventually try and make this knowledge not meta knowledge anymore. Like, is this another thing in the canon of the world similar to Balesville, where it's kind of everyone got confused by it and then went, and then just didn't really.
I'm just gonna say there is no feasible way I could see Nell for years asking the right questions to find out that this conspiracy even exists.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Super
what I'm
deep
wondering. So
dive,
it's
so.
not like a recorded history of like the.
No, because
That
this
is
affected
so
like 10 people.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna be like more people experienced this and didn't know. These motherfucking doppelgangers. I like.
It just so happened
Oh.
that the 10 people who got affected were all very important people.
Yeah.
Interesting. God, like this doppelganger stuff feels like the key to so much, and we haven't really like tapped into it so much, and it's fucking drive me up the wall.
And we might
Come on.
not.
It's
ever.
almost like maybe it's not important for your characters.
Yeah, it was
Um,
a different party's story.
No, but it's not if it has any relevance with what happened in Balesville and what's happening with Carjack.
It
That
might
is where I
not,
think
though.
the
Might
connect.
not, though.
Maybe
I mean-
it's not. Maybe it's not. But it feels like there is a modicum of a chance.
Maybe. Maybe not. Welcome to Balesville.
Welcome to meta.
Welcome to Balesville. We're about to
Hate
get
it.
real confused.
I'm already confused. Probably lived most of my life. God damn it.
Same.
It's a feature, not a bug.
True.
Well, okay. Let's move on because I'm irritated. I'm actually gonna sub you in, Teni, to grill Adam at least for the first little bit about his beautiful moment because I have to go pee, so I'm gonna do that.
Fair enough.
Fair
All right.
enough.
Hi, everybody. My name is Teni Dicely, and I am now the host of the after party. Huzzah! All right. Now that Christy's gone, let's talk about that shit that I told her that we'll never go into. No, I'm just kidding. So after there was the big interview with Monty, which Nell, Gideon, and Drac were all a part of, the rest of the party kind of went off and did their own preparations. Like Elowyn and Azaria, you guys began to like figure out like what you're gonna do about your magic, and Abe, you went off to have some time by yourself to consider some drawing, and you ended up finding a nice spot down the river, and you gave us a beautiful description of your like mental process and like what you ended up creating. Do you want to kind of go into a bit of what the interpretation of all that is?
Sure. It's hard because I haven't actually talked to you about any of it. I've been meaning to, but it's
It's
been
okay.
tough.
He's been busy talking to me.
That's true. He's been busy talking to everyone. This man never stops. Dear viewers. Train of thought gone. It's interesting that you're saying like it's a beautiful moment, because I think for Abe it was.
Well, it definitely
Not at
had
all.
like a lot of images of, you know, conflict and
Yeah.
like a dark sideness.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is like he got rocked by Sarze. Like just mechanically taking, I think, somewhere in the realm of like almost 300 damage when you have less than 100 health. over the course of that fight, and like, and he was powerless. You know, his self view is that he's this, and even Drac at some point during this episode, I think, said like that he was a bulwark and he was, you know, he stood his ground and all that stuff, but he didn't feel that way. He felt so weak and so like his entire idea of like, I am the durable front line that can take a lot of damage and all that kind of stuff was totally shattered because he lost almost all of his HP in one attack. And so it, I think it definitely kind of reaches that part of like, of fear and being worried about what if he dies? You know, he doesn't really, if he dies, it's probably not nearly as bad as like if Rhea died, for example, but he doesn't know that. And there's only the 6 of them. Like, how are they going to bring someone new in if any of them die? And like, what does that all mean? And so, the only sources of power that he's known were Malden, he whose hunger is unending, and himself. And himself in that situation was clearly not enough. And so it kind of just spirals out of control from there being like, what does that mean? And where does he go from there? The other thing being, he's probably too smart to make some decisions that would be, you know, bad ideas. But then where's that line of how desperate do you get? What is the price of victory and what are you going to pay to afford it? You know?
Does that sound like Abe's searching for a warlock pact, or?
No, Abe, we'll have a conversation. Let me talk to you, bud.
Is this interesting? So, and by the way you have entered into this question by saying you haven't spoken to me about it, is there like a certain multi-class or divergence that you see maybe coming up the line for Abe?
There could potentially be a form of like, he whose hunger is unending and Abe have a very common enemy. That might be the grounds for a deal. An agreement, perhaps. If he whose hunger is ending even exists anymore.
Fascinating.
But I feel like he wouldn't have died because he's died many times, and I don't think the 5 of us at what level? We were level 6?
I think so.
Yeah.
5, level 6. I don't think 6 5th level characters could have put him down for good. So,
level 5 characters are pretty powerful. A wizard can just snap their fingers and delete a village. Fireball.
Level 5? Oh.
Yeah, the village delete spell.
Fireball.
Not a village,
Wow,
maybe a
that's so-
house. Like, this fireball spell is actually not that big.
40 feet.
It's big when you're in a dungeon.
Yeah. You know, like a small, like, I guess a hamlet. You could delete a hamlet.
You could delete a farm.
Delete a hamlet. Small, like, bunch of buildings around a well, you know?
They were very
Adam,
close
can
together.
Yes.
Sorry, Christy.
Well, you just have to catch them on fire. You don't have to blow them all up. You gotta get the fire. Fire spray. I'm sorry.
Can you clarify for me? Because it's been a while since I've had to have my like whole Malden hat on. Who, in the context of everything, fuck, I've lost it. Who, in all of the different personas, because this still trips me up a little bit. Who is the he who hunger is unending? Like, who is that in the whole like? You don't know. It was just like
Doesn't exist within the faith.
right, but we fought them. Who were they in the fight that we had in your brain?
They were the 15-foot tall, red-eyed ape.
Right.
Yeah, they're essentially the one you
Bad.
guys all fought.
And they also were anti-Malden? Is that your common enemy?
That's my interpretation of it. I don't know what the canonical version of that is.
Ooh,
It's
I don't
good.
like
haven't
that.
talked to Teni about this at all. So
Oh boy. That terrifies me just as much as you being like, oh, I felt a heartbeat. It's like, fuck that shit. I don't like that.
The Malden stuff is so fascinating to me because, like, I have done such a deep dive into that relevant lore that, like, I'm like, yeah, I have answers for all these things. And it's interesting if it'll ever become important or if it'll ever come up, because like the weird meta pre-campaign stuff, it's like these are the things that could never be asked the correct question.
Look, every time I talk to the rest of the players, not during this, everyone's like, we're not going to make it to all the places that we want to. But if there's anything I'm going to try and strong arm you on, Teni, is that somehow in this game, I don't care how it happens, I'm going to fucking go to the Tempest Expanse. Like, Nell's business is pretty much done now on the whole. Like, there's a few things that, like, obviously I want to go to the Wilder and stuff. And I'm, like, very committed to solving, like, Elowyn and Gideon's stuff for them. If there's something that I'm probably solving for me the most, it's the goddamn Tempest Expanse and everything to do with Malden, because I don't know, it fascinates me so much and I want answers.
Listen, the business side of my brain too is like, of course, we have this actual play campaign. It's like, I have this story in mind. You all have your stories. I would very much like to hit all those. But then there's there's that business part of me that's like, there very well could be, a 20th level one-shot when this is all done. And it's like, what threads would need to be resolved? That very well could be one of them, maybe.
Okay, I will allow that as long as it happens. That's all I'm saying. I don't want it to be some kind of like, it just needs to happen eventually.
It might become relevant to the main campaign anyway, so then maybe something else has to become the 20th level one-shot.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, that's basically, again, keeping it back. But there's a lot of similarities between us and Kuril campaign too, because they just had like a two-parter to basically deal with like a eldritch being.
Well, I mean, they
didn't deal with. So.
They did a 20th level one-shot for their first campaign too, where they had to go save Grog from the deck of many things. So,
that was stupidity. That was just fucking stupidity on Travis's part to be like, we're wrapping up the epilogue here. Anything you want to do? I'm gonna pull from the deck of many things.
I would like to draw from the deck of many things.
Now, is it stupidity or is it genius?
I mean, it's a little bit of both, but I just really like that Matt was like, well, we're not dealing with that right now. We're gonna deal with that another time. Oh god. Anyway, I think probably Adam, you touched on most things.
I am intrigued to have this conversation with you, Adam.
Yeah.
You
talked about
to do it this week.
The thing that I wrote down, like verbatim, I think, was the drawing that started as a river becomes a toppled tree. Did you talk about that imagery yet?
I did not.
Can you? Or was it just something you thought sounded nice? Because to me, I'm like, ooh, that's evocative. Like, what is going on?
That might be a metaphor that other people can decide what it means.
Okay. I also really appreciate that, like, you're like, oh, at the end, you're surrounded by 6 crumpled pieces of paper.
What are the pictures on the other 6?
Literally what I have written down. I haven't written, like, what were the other drawings?
What could they be?
Because I'm like, oh, is it, like, the same? It's just you keep drawing it over and over? Or is it, like, 6 different things? Rude.
You're such a DM.
Ugh, God.
Sometimes.
Such a pain in the ass to hang out with all these TMs. You guys are so shifty. Be like me and not able to keep a secret. Come on. Truly. Yeah, I think that's all I had for the beautiful moment of Abe's reflection.
Did you think it was beautiful, or did you think it was more... Because Abe, I mentioned this earlier, but it was very difficult for Abe, and like he viewed it as very hard. Whereas, did it present as being this like serene, beautiful moment for you?
I can see it, I guess, kind of both as like a two-handed thing, which if like out of game, I can say from personal experience is kind of the reality of like doing work on yourself. Like it is always hard. It leads to better things. It's a joyless task on occasion, but is also extremely necessary. So viewing it from the outside, like I do think like there was a part of it that maybe not serene or like beautiful isn't the right word, but there is kind of like a meditative energy.
Poetic.
Yeah, like it like that kind of goes along with that, with the understanding that like that sort of thing is difficult to do but important. So if anything, I just think I was more like, again, excited is not quite the right word, but looking forward to like where Abe's story is going next from this moment, I think. Which again, like Nell doesn't know any of it, but like just me as the player, I'm like, ooh. Like, it's just fun to see everyone kind of like where we are now versus where we were like a year ago. So yeah.
Thank you for indulging my question.
You're welcome. Now I'm curious because I want to go back because I feel like it was like last Christmas that I wrote my giant like Malden document. I feel like
the Malden doc. Don't delete that. That might come
Oh,
back.
I would not delete that. Absolutely not. I am not one. Like if you have like something you've written that like you're like, oh, this isn't really working, put it into a separate document and come back to it later because it might be useful for something in the future. It's just not working where it currently is. And I put a lot of effort into that Malden thing, so I'm not going to get rid of it. And it's probably going to be relevant again. And if it's not, I'm going to force it to be so. So anyway.
Mel becomes a follower of Malden.
Dang.
I'm like, oh no, it's just so I get insider information and then I like get fully corrupted. Oops.
Like, oh, this glory thing
Sucks.
sounds pretty good.
I do get pretty angry when I fight. It would be great if there was like a mechanical association with that. I can never die. Anyway. So after all of this is the beginning of Elowyn's training montage. So yeah, learning that you do have access to the divination magic that you've been using, that it was not something given to you by Layla. And then we reach out to Charity, I think in this moment. Nope, that was the next moment. Just kidding, I lied. And then, yeah, you guys kind of trial and error, figure out like that you can only cast the rituals at present, at least. And then this is where we reconvene as a group after like Abe leaving, you guys working, and the conversation with Monty. Like all of this was happening simultaneously. So then we come back together, and this is where we decide to reach out to Charity. Be like, hey, bestie, do you want to just like teleport over to fucking Timberstead?
If you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. And this is also the fucking thing of like the so many sending spells. Oh my
God damn. I thought it was so appropriate as well though, because I was so used to being able to cast sending without really having that limit that the first time I tried to do it with a proper limit, I'm like, I don't know how to do it.
Oh, it's such an art
How do you
form to like
communicate things in just 25 words?
Anthony is so good at it.
Oh man. It's just there's so many shenanigans that can happen with fucking sending. It always makes me laugh. I'm just like, so I'm being like, when the person responds with a question, you're like, fuck. I have to send it again. God damn it.
One of my favorite things I've ever done was play a character who couldn't count super high. So when he got sent to, he kept talking and it just stopped mid-sentence.
So fun.
Or he was just like, also he was just super like stressed out, so he didn't even care about the word limit. He was just like, I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And it just cut off on like the word is somewhere in the sentence.
Yeah. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Boop doop. And then while we're waiting for Charity to arrive, this is the daggers and rapiers fight scene, fight training montage. It's so great.
It was great that Elowyn's first roll with the rapier was like a 19.
Yep.
She is actually relatively dexterous.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, is it common too for, because like my wizard character has a rapier that I hardly ever use, but is that like a standard thing for a wizard to also have a rapier if they need it?
No.
No, I don't think they're
weird.
proficient.
No, wizards are not proficient with rapiers.
Why the fuck do I have one? There's a question for Anthony later.
In fact, wizards only have access to simple weaponry, and not all simple weaponry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, their
I think
proficiencies
only
are pretty limited.
I
It's
think
like-
only blade singers get the rapier.
Yeah, maybe.
You must as a blade singer, because that's the whole deal, right?
That or short
I'm
sword.
so confused.
Probably both.
Short sword, something to that effect, yeah.
Cool. I'm so confused. I feel like I've had this rapier the entire game, so I'm like, where the fuck did this come from?
I mean, you could own one, you just won't use it well.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I guess for like Elowyn in this moment, like, obviously you don't have all the answers yet because you haven't talked to Charity yet, but you're trying out new things. Like, did you
See what
do you-
sticks?
Yeah, like, is the thought of having like a weaponry proficiency also something that is interesting to you?
I guess so. The problem is, like, since then we have like gone wizard, and my poor HP is so low that I truly can't get close to anything. So really having a
Yeah.
rapier proficiency isn't super useful to me. But I like thematically and story-wise, I like it. I think that's a fun little thing. Do I plan to use it? No, not really.
That's fair.
But I like
It's like if
I like
you're-
it in a pinch, you know?
Yeah, if you're out of spell slots and there's someone real close to you, just stab them.
Yup. Yikes.
And this is a good use for you in the future for your familiar. If you want to use them in battle, you can like have them be close for like touch spells. So, in fact, I think there's a thing
Oh,
they can
wow.
only cast touch spells or something. Because I remember that
Yes.
fucking me over at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, you can cast
So.
touch spells through them.
So,
Um,
you know, you
I
got
mean, also
options.
having the rapier also is nice in the event that there's ever like an anti-magic area. So
Yeah. Yeah, I like having it as an option, but I don't think it will be my main thing. Although it was after this episode that we like made the real choice about what I was gonna do class-wise. And, rogue floated in my head for a hot second. It was an option.
I think that would have been such a fun move, but at the same time, like, fuck, we really only do have like one spellcaster, so.
Yeah, I didn't
Hmm.
really think it made sense, but I do like a rogue.
Yeah, they are such a good, fun class to play. But I am
Yeah.
grateful that you will have like teleportation circle and all of that again. So
Yeah, I was like, actually,
it came
I
up in her
can't not be-
decision making.
I was like, I can't not be. Christy's gonna be so mad at me if no one can cast teleportation circle.
That's literally what she said to me.
oh, thank you so much. It was really weighing on me. I'm like, I can't do it now. I could have taken the option, I guess, of going full sorcerer, and I chose not to. So I really like closed that door. And it's just hard, like going back and forth between being a utility caster and then not. You're like, oh god, there's so much
Yeah.
I can't do. So I really appreciate it. And it's gonna be great when we finally use it at some point to go back to
Someday.
keep.
I do believe it's gonna be relevant. It's gonna
yeah.
come in handy.
Sure. And again, if it doesn't, we'll make it so that
There we
is
go.
the joy of the game.
I'll hop in here with a question for everybody else. When you guys were like trying to invest in Elowyn and like help her develop some skills, what did you think she was going to go into class-wise?
A wizard for sure.
Yeah, I
Was
think
by.
wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
felt the most applicable.
I was thinking either wizard or some kind of sorcerer, but yeah.
Yeah. I think wizard made the most sense to me because like it just seemed like, oh, you've already kind of put that work in. Like you're already essentially a wizard, so would it truly be that hard to just become one? Like
Yeah. I
Right,
played such
so-
a wizardly warlock, yeah.
yeah. And I think too, like we had talked so much about like how advanced your intellect is, right? Like it made the most sense to me. Like when you were like, when Elowyn was in like the sense of being like, oh, I have nothing to contribute to this party. I'm like, I don't think that's true. Like your brain alone like contributes a lot. And I think it could also make magic. So
My brain makes magic.
it is kind of a weird thing though, just in general. It's like you can like sell your soul or you can like read a bunch and you can have magic, right? Like
And Elowyn read a bunch and then still went and sold her soul.
so it's-
Yeah. Weird.
Confidence.
Yeah. But anyway, Charity arrives, our best friend, the High Arcanist. And yeah, we got a lot of good information out of her because that is what she does.
Her job.
Yeah, literally her job, and she's so good at it.
Your lord up.
Yeah. So this is where we learn a lot of the interesting stuff about Wulela. And remind me, I have a theory that I wrote down that I'm gonna talk about in a
Ooh.
second. But so you explained to her everything to do with Wulela and the Pact. And then you mentioned that Wulela had you drink from a river or a lake.
Mhm.
What one was it? Because I have both written, I think.
Honestly, as far as size
Pond.
goes, it was more like a pond. Yeah.
Pond. All right. And that Charity isn't aware of such a thing. Although this is again the word lake is being used, but I'm like, if it was a pond, there could have been a pond, I guess, on top of the
So,
buttes.
lore implications. The ley rivers are the traveling paths of magic.
Mhm.
Ley lakes, regardless of size, are where those things pool together to create miracles within the world.
Gotcha.
And of course,
So-
all of these are invisible to the mortal plane.
Right. So yeah, so Charity said she wasn't aware of a ley lake on top of the Hawk Claw buttes. But then Elowyn says that Wulela took her somewhere else.
It's because we weren't there.
Interesting. Where the fuck did she take you? But the lake was like moonlight and had a bit of a glow, which is so fucking cool. I'm like, what does this mean?
That's cool. And a full detail I did not remember from that conversation.
Which is fascinating to me because it seems
Originally.
like so beautiful and interesting to me. I'm like, oh my god, the entire time I'd be like, well, I drank moon water, no big. But- yeah. So
It was interesting hearing that like later though. I feel like moons and stars and stuff have come up so much in the campaign up to there that I was like, oh, very interesting actually. This is moon water.
maybe this is
Super
relevant.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where Charity theorizes that Layla was never the source of Elowyn's power, but it might have come from the water that you consumed from the river of Ley. And she believes that magic is literally coursing through Elowyn and is interested to see how it develops. What was that like to hear?
Ooh. Like from my perspective, very fun. Ooh, magic literally courses through you. Love it.
Not to brag, but I got moon magic literally coursing through me, so
I don't know, but I was telling this to you and Anthony the other day at dinner where I was like, this like from like Elowyn's perspective though, like this has never like been the goal. Like she's never been like, oh, I want to be powerful. I want to be like, I'm gonna, so I think from her perspective, she's just kind of like, I was totally fine borrowing power. I actually don't really need my own. Okay, sure. This is what we're doing now. Neat. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we're just like, I just want to like go live in a little cottage and make muffins. I don't know why this is so hard.
oh god, mood for my real life. I I think there's like something to it, though, that I can see like maybe it might be a source of comfort in the future if you ever consider it like in character. But like at the very least, like if your magic belongs to you alone, that's like one less person that you are beholden to. And like, or like, well, like, obviously like Layla already is out of the picture, but like going forward, you don't have to make any other sort of deal. Like you can rely on yourself, which has its own implications of like being stressful because you're like, great, now it's like up to me if I like fuck myself over. But it can go both ways. So
yeah, I don't know. I think like Teni and I talked about this a lot as well, where I feel like you and I have come at this from different perspectives. Because for me, this whole thing is like so sad. Where I feel like, I don't know, Elowyn, like, you know, her mom died not that long ago. And then I think since then she's been like, you know, and especially because we're just in Varmhall and there's so much like family stuff. And Elowyn's been feeling very like, boy, I'd love like, you know, I don't know, an authority figure. I'd love someone to just like help me. And then for Layla to be like, fuck you. And you're like, oh, okay. Okay, so I don't have that either, huh? And not that I thought Layla and I were best friends, but it was like, oh, okay. And then it was like, no, you can do it on your own. I'm like, super. Doing it on my own. Okay, cool. That's fine. Cue the Mean Girls music.
But I guess like, and again, you can reframe it too. I guess I'm not willing to give up on like like Elowyn just like feeling so shit all the time. But I'm like, maybe like the magic element of it is something that is coming just from you. But the hope is that like you're beginning to realize, if you haven't already, like in the figuring this out, like you aren't alone. Because like the rest of us are like doing their level best to help, right?
Yes.
So it's not the same, and I understand that, but at least it's like an attempt.
Yeah.
But
there's
I get it though.
Well, I was gonna say there's more of a comfort to like think that this magic won't disappear again, but you know, I don't know. Fucking maybe it will. With the way Elowyn's track record goes, yeah, who knows?
But hey, it makes it an easy decision if like you have to give something up to like break the curse. You'd be like, yeah, I'll live a life without magic.
Take it. I didn't want it.
At least you can. There's that if it comes to that.
Yeah, please.
So, the theory I wrote down before. It's such a funny note to myself. Is Layla just a conduit? And then I wrote Ratatouille.
What?
I'm kind of thinking like, that's the whole thing of like where, yeah, Teni gets it, I think, where Layla's power like came into all of this. Like, yeah, basically, like if the magic was yours all along, like what exactly was Layla providing, if anything?
That is a great
like,
question.
So perhaps like maybe if they do have magic inherently to themselves, maybe it's not strong and thus they have to tap into someone stronger, which is part of like the whole drink from the lake thing. It amplifies and then they can tap into the amplification and then puppet you around like Ratatouille style. So that is the
I like the implication that Walela is the size of a rat.
That would be cute as hell.
Yeah.
Still dangerous.
Yeah, no, but it'd be so cute. It'd be so cute.
High level rat.
Fucking Rat King. It all comes back to that.
We've got a question in the chat too. From Shmoo.
Oh, yeah. All right. Dallis, do you find emotions are raw or easy to expect ahead of time and interacting in game?
It's interesting. I guess probably pretty raw. I get very into Elowyn. And I feel like there's a lot of times in game where I'm sitting there and I'm like not sitting as myself, even just listening to other people interact, that I sit in Elowyn's emotions and I feel things and like that don't always even come up, but I just sit there and feel as her. And then I think about it a lot for the following 14 days until the next session. And so then I have a little bit more of an expectation, but just sit in her forever.
Yeah, I think you're very good at that. Like,
oh yeah,
like you're so good at being reactionary as her. Although I wish you didn't have to like feel as her for, like, in such
cool.
a detrimental way. Yeah, Mel agrees. You go in and out of character so easily.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I love her. I feel her
Yeah.
in my bones.
I feel, Mel, you can reaffirm this for me if you remember it all, but I feel like at the very beginning of Dicely, we were talking about like the cast and stuff, and I think she specifically mentioned that like you, Dallis, and Ryan like were very like good about like reacting in character. I think that was like, and this was would have been from like episode like 2 or 3 or something, I think. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, to continue the charity of it all, yes, Charity continues to try and figure out what kind of magic you can cast and like what the descriptions of magic, like what is yours, what was her, or what was Layla's, and then mentions that as you regain your confidence, you'll be able to cast more, and that you actually could even have the power to sculpt it however you choose to do so. And just all I wrote was that Charity goes off and drops some major truth bombs. So I clearly didn't write down what those were specifically, but it was just like, I was really, I think, happy to have you, or for you to have that same moment that I feel like all of us had. This is my favorite self-insert, Teni, of yours, is Charity, because I just fucking love it when you're just like, here's some hard facts, figure it out. Like, you can do this. Like, I'm not listening to you bitch about it. And I'm like, yay.
Stop whining and just start doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
But it's all wrapped up in a tiny little cute package.
It's great. Charity is my absolute favorite. If anything happens to her, I'll be really pissed. But yeah, just from Shmoo, yeah, she says like she notices that there's such a quick switch for Ryan and Dallis, like between asking a question from Teni and then answering in character. And she's currently caught up on like Jesse's stuff, or like midway through it, and she thought Jesse did a good job with that as well.
Yeah,
Obviously.
I think it's sometimes easier when you are doing like a character voice as well, because it's a lot easier to be like, oh, I'm fully in character when I'm speaking this way versus.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a much noticeable switch when I'm like, hey, I'm the DM, and now I'm back to character. Hello again, and then I gotta come back out and explain like, here's the lore.
Yeah. Dallas, from your perspective, what was it like for you to get some charity truth bombs? Did you enjoy it as much as I did?
Yeah. I don't know. I truly I don't know if I like Charity. Let me be so real with you. I'm just mad that she's not proud of me.
Do something to make her proud of you. Yeah.
Okay.
She has given you the tools. Now you have to go out and wage war with yourself, and then she'll be proud of you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will. No, I mean, I mean, it's exactly what I was hoping to. I truly, like, I wanted to bring Charity in for this because I was like, I want Daddy to fucking explain this to me. And everyone else got, Charity explanation. So, yeah, I definitely, like, very intentionally wanted to bring Charity in for this.
And also, this was my opportunity to, like, it was a perfect opportunity for Charity to also address the letter that Nell sent. And Charity's like, sorry, I've been busy. We'll talk about this while I'm here.
I mean, her just being there is all I wanted. Like, the truth bomb was what I wanted for Elowyn. So I got it. It was great. She also tells us to absolutely not pull from the deck, which I appreciated. And we learned that no one has been able to get into Phil's tower for millennia.
Yeah, we should have, like, asked more, because we could get in. We have the teleportation circle, right?
You do not.
Do we not?
No,
you do not own such a thing.
No, the teleportation circle that was on the floor was to come back to that workshop, right?
And he destroyed it to get you all out and to get him wherever he wanted to go.
But yeah, he was basically doing. I did draw it.
You drew it, but that would lead back to that basement workshop.
Okay.
but he
Yeah,
also
okay.
destroyed it, so no
that's the
drawing would
way-
be relevant.
I gotcha.
Yeah, because he was basically like doing some high level wizard shit of like, oh, I will take this teleportation circle and like adjust it to what I need to go home.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have it, but we do
You
know
know-
him, so we could send him a message outside of his tower.
You know,
Hey.
knowing Nick
Let us in.
as long as I have, and knowing the characters that he's always been fascinated by, Plants was doing a sort of comedy act to get in good with us. And he won us over pretty quick. And we will never hear from him again.
I mean, not of his own volition, but I'm gonna force him to.
Oh, he'll be back in his full body and he'll just disintegrate you. You know, he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
What an honor, though.
Oh, absolutely. To be disintegrated by Felinori Plants.
What a way to go, you know.
PP. Yeah. I broke Christy.
If I get come out by being disintegrated by PP. That's so fucking stupid.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh
welcome.
God. Okay. I'm just gonna move on. Charity unfortunately did not have any specific answers to solving Elowyn's curse, which I figured would be too easy, but you gotta try. But she says to keep exploring, and there could be items that might do the trick. And I'm like, ooh, what does that look like? Like, what item is out there that can solve this situation?
There's like the ring of 3 wishes and that kind of jazz.
Oh, is that what she was referring to then? Specifically, like an item
I
that would have
assume so.
wish capabilities?
There are a few.
I see. I don't know any items at all. It's like not a thing I look up in D&D. So I didn't know what she was referring to there. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, combination of 2 suggestions for Elowyn's cure, you know, like a genie lamp.
Right.
Get some wishes
Dallis.
and an angry elemental. Fun.
Cute.
Ooh. Dallis, have you spent any time like thinking about the wording of the wish you would cast if you were able to, so you don't get monkey's pod or monkey pod?
No, I'm so afraid of it.
Okay.
No, you
Interesting.
cannot introduce that possibility to me for another year because I need time to think about it.
I mean, it might not be right away, but it's definitely coming. So we can all brainstorm like the best wording for how not to get totally fucked by casting a wish. So.
Yes.
Oh god. So I think one other kind of interesting thing happens while Charity is there, and that's that Abe tried to smell her. Which is
Wow.
like my favorite moment of all time. That broke me so hard. So fucking stupid, and I loved it.
That's stupid.
No, it wasn't. It
Has
wasn't.
major lore implications.
No,
Yeah.
it definitely like the reasoning
know.
for why makes perfect sense. Just I think the way you asked it and just the concept of it in general is so funny to me. Like it really ruined me. But it's not the smell that you were looking for, unfortunately, which
But a person who has aged
could change.
200 some odd years, you know,
Could change her smell.
things change.
Okay. Let's look. So, did we not get the description of what the scent was for the memory? Because I just wrote just a memory of the perfume. But
I
not a
know I
specific
said
scent.
it, but
Yeah, it was-
One of them was strawberry.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
flowery, light, summery, sort of fruity strawberries.
Yeah, because the whiff that we got of Charity was peach and spring blossom. So, pretty good. I mean, both fruit.
It's still fruit and flower.
Still fruit. Yeah, fruit and flower.
Ship.
Pretty interesting.
Big ship.
Oh, we break into Charity's rooms and just see if she's got any old like perfume bottles kicking around.
You just find a bag of holding and dive in, and it's just bottles everywhere.
She keeps everything.
I would if I was a wizard. Just gotta have so many trinkets.
And then I
Buttons
assume
from
you
old
jump.
robes. Sorry.
And I assume you jumped in with your bag of holding, so it all gets shot out into the astral plane.
Yeah, I die. That seems accurate. That seems like, and that's another great way for me to go. Just jumping into a bag of holding and then causing an explosion. Yeah.
Houston, we're ready for liftoff.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't think the journey to the astral would kill you. What would kill you is what's in the astral.
Is
dread
it not that the bags cause like a nuclear explosion when they enter, or is it just the astral sea thing?
The
Was that
effects
like
vary from magic item to magic item upon certain interactions. Some will eject you to a different plane. Some will create a portal, which you're not immediately sucked into. Sometimes you have the choice to go through it. But usually it always results in the destruction of the magic items.
Ah. Okay. It's a problem. I'll just dump those out first and then I'll have enough foresight to take the magic items out of the bag, but I will still go in with the bag because I want to see what happens. Yeah. That is truly the last note that I took was just what Charity smells like.
Yeah, that's my last note too. That's the only important thing that happened.
Because I think after that I started working on a meme, so I stopped.
What the meme? Oh, amazing. I mean, to throw a little tidbit in there too. Charity reskinned the book, Elowyn's spell book.
Oh yes.
And gifted Elowyn with a new focus in exchange for the rod.
Appreciated.
Yeah.
Appreciated. I didn't want those things.
Yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense.
now you have a crystal now? Is that
Yeah.
fun?
Crystal in a book.
Hell yeah.
Brown book.
A pretty good
Yeah.
crystal too.
It's a very good crystal, actually. It's a good crystal. It's a pretty good crystal.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just try to save against my spell save. Good luck.
I really hope I don't have to.
Yeah, it's pretty
if that's an
rubbish.
option. Does this crystal make up for not getting any items from Mary Miss?
It's better than the one Layla gave me for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
Did you give the rod to Charity?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we really set Elowyn up for wizard at the end of this episode.
Yeah, I was like going to be very surprised if there was another path that you took. Like, obviously, you do whatever you want. Even
Honestly,
if it means...
like in my head, I was like, wizard seems applicable, but I was also ready for you to just continue on like the warlock path. Like, and I had in my head like the reason why that would work, but you're like, I'm gonna go wizard because it makes the most sense, and I was like, I respect that.
Yeah, I think it's just the same with because that was really the debate was between warlock and wizard, but it just also felt like because I kind of came at it like from two perspectives. It was like mechanically what is more fun to play and like story wise what is more fun. But it felt like with warlock, like we talked about it and you were kind of like, you're gonna have to change things about the warlock if you're gonna stick with warlock. And I had already made all the choices I wanted to make for warlock. So it felt like if I was gonna stick with warlock, I was gonna have to play warlock with like my 4th, 5th favorite picks, you know? So I was like, so I'm just gonna play like a worse version of the warlock I was already playing. And also I didn't like it as much from the story perspective. So I was like, well, the wizard makes so much sense from the story, and I think it does open up a lot of like cool options in the future for Elowyn as well. There are some nifty little. I spent a lot of time reading about wizards in the last couple of weeks. There's some nifty little options ahead in the wizard track.
Wizards are really fun. Again.
Yeah, God, they're so tedious, but we'll deal.
We're mitigating that so you can actually enjoy the class.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again,
I definitely had a different experience with it because I never had to deal with like the writing.
I don't want to hear about how you play your wizard, actually.
Okie dokie. Well, this has been a really fun stream.
And now for the fun question. Want to hear how we play a wizard?
Yeah, I actually have something
Someone tell
that
me.
is not relevant to this episode specifically, but came up while I was trying to look up the notes from like our conversation with Gideon's family, which I thought was really interesting. So remember like previous after party after all of the Barm Hall stuff, there was like a question you asked me, Teni, that I couldn't answer. It was the it dawned on you that you never had two entities fighting over you. Rather, it was the expectation of your lineage and the truth of yourself that you had been denying. And I was like, no, it has not. Boy, howdy, did you plant that seed really early on? And I fucking forgot, because I have a note from that scene with Gideon's family where I was like thinking about something, like, because I think I had felt like the presence or something like that, and I was trying to think about it. And you said, you come to the realization that whatever this thing is, it's more of an extension of yourself, almost a difference in expectation within you than it is a separate entity that watches. And I didn't know what the fuck that meant back then. And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. I just forgot about it. Oh my God.
Listen, there are some facets where I've had answers for a long time.
Boy, great. It's crazy to me how good of a DM you are. Like, oh my God. The fact that you plant stuff so early on so can rock me later. That was fucking episode, what, like 7 or something? Like,
Yeah.
Jesus. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, great question.
Does that make you crazy, Teni, waiting for players to recognize something? No, because the payoff, like what just happened with Christy there, is that it's always just like an amazement and a mind blowing, and I'm like, yes, there's the moment, and it always feels great. Like you misunderestimate my patience.
Literally, you have to be so patient. I am not patient, hence I can't keep secrets because I'm too excited for like the payoff from it.
Like in the prequel campaign with Adam's character, we talked about it earlier, the fact that he was like, he thought he was him the whole time, only to discover that he was his soul in a changeling's body. I'd sat on that for 2 years before he found out about it. Like, that was one of the first, like, we had this whole body switching thing, and I had to, like, from the start of the campaign, I was like, I need to have the answer for this. There it is. And now I wait.
That is absolutely bonkers. I mean, this episode 7 was July 2021. That's how long this reveal has been of me being like, I don't know what that means, and I'll never figure it out, actually.
What is time but a currency of miserly wizards?
Apparently.
How much do you want to lead them to it, or are there times you feel they just won't get there? If it's important enough to them, they find the way. And usually I think a trick as a DM to try and master is learning what your players really care about. And when you're able to figure that out, and especially if you play with like a group of people that you know really well, like it becomes easier to do that, then you become able to anticipate certain moves, and like it's not planning, it's just watching the motions go as they will. And if you've figured out the people that you're playing with, it happens and everyone has an amazing time.
That is such a skill.
I kind of view a lot of this as psychology in a way. Not that I'm like reading into you guys, but more like maybe it is that. I don't want to say that, but maybe it is. I don't know. But it's our natural ability as people to want to tell a story, and I know the stories you guys want to tell, And I'm like, how can I get involved in that? And how can I make that more interesting or turn it a little bit in a way that you weren't expecting?
Yeah. That's right. I don't know if I've talked about this on the show at all. I've definitely talked to Teni about it, but I think like being a DM is such a love language because I cannot think of like a bigger act of service to do for your friends than to create a world for them to explore stories that are impactful and meaningful to them, and then like kind of work in tandem with them to explore those things, right? Like, because we trust you, like we come to you with what like characters we want to play and like what we want to explore, and we trust you to be able to like meet us there and like make it interesting, make it satisfying. It's just, this is why I think it's one of my absolute favorite ways to tell a story, because just it's incredible and it blows my mind every single time. So yeah.
Yay.
All right. If one part of your body had to be cold forever and there was nothing you could do to warm it up, what part would you be okay with it being?
As if you went with this question.
I did. No one else gave me one, and I
true.
have no brain at the current moment. So this is the question we get.
If one part of you had to be cold.
Look, I think I can answer this because I live this. I have like patches on the backs of my arms that are always cold. And that just is the reality I live with in my life. So I think
Whoa.
that it's totally fine.
Huh.
Huh.
My heart. No, I can't.
Oh.
Oh God.
Forever cold. No, I choose what's something inconsequential.
I feel like it has to be like enough. Like you couldn't say like a single strand of hair or something. Like it has to be something that you would like. Would be like.
I bet that would
noticeable.
be annoying though if you had like one icy cold strand of hair and like touch your neck.
It's so annoying. You would know the moment that thing started growing in again.
Yeah, that would be really funny actually.
Could you say your hair, like your head of hair, as an as an answer?
Oh, I would not want that. Like thinking about all the times in university, I was like, I love to shower and then go to my 8 a.m. lecture, and then like it would be -30 out, and my hair would be frozen. Not good. Not like a good thing to do, actually.
Hair kind of looks cool when it's frozen, though.
It does. It's cold though, like because then it's touching you, and it's like.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with hair. If I could have a frozen dew, that'd be.
I also don't think it's like fully frozen. It's just cold. I think I closed the question away, so I don't know. But I think it's just cold.
Fair enough. Then I could grow it out and use it as a weapon. Like turn my head really quickly. I could whip someone in the face with it, and they'd be like, "Whoa." Cool.
Yeah, that would be. I think I would go with maybe like my nose, because it's already kind of cold most of the time, I find. So
I don't know, because then like, would you get a drippy nose?
again, this is the reality I currently live with, so like it's nothing new for me.
Is the question.
The question is, where are
what
you? Cole?
realities do we live with?
In what ways is your
I got
body
cold
failing
feet.
you?
That's what I do. I
Yeah,
get
I
really
have-
cold feet.
Yeah.
I know that's something I would not want, because I already that one I live
Yes.
with, and that one I can't stand. Like the nose is fine, like I deal with it, but my toes not warming up.
My toes are so like I don't know what is wrong with the circulation down there, but
I think I'm gonna say knees, because knees already suck as it is. So it's like, let's just coalesce all the suck in one body part.
It's fair.
Oh, that's such a good idea. The fucked up part of my back. It's like then it's a constant kind of like icy patch, right? It would just be
Yeah,
constantly numb, and then maybe I wouldn't feel it anymore.
There you go.
that's
Just combine all the shit into one basket.
You know,
Coalesce
actually,
the suck.
with that idea, I choose my left shoulder. Hurt my rotator cuff a few years
The
back.
new question is, where do you hurt?
Yeah, new question
What
is
is the reality that you are living?
Where
Yeah,
would
new
you like
question
a
is
permanent ice pack?
who else is experiencing chronic pain, and where do you want that ice pack to go?
You should do like palms, so every one of your high fives is icy.
Oh,
Ooh, that's
that would be kind of a fun party trick. I'm just imagining though, like, like I don't know if anyone else does this to friends or partners, but when you have cold hands and you're like, hey, and then you touch them with your cold hands.
Awful.
And then
Yes.
obviously that's not fun. So I'm just imagining it's constantly that, but I'm also doing it to myself. Like I go to like scratch or something. I'm like, oh, I forgot that was the cold hand.
Oh, what of you, Adam?
I'd probably go with feet, because at least then, like, I don't have to touch any other part of my body with my feet. And
It's
so
true.
I don't risk being, and like, as we've said, feet are cold frequently, so it's not that out of,
Yeah.
left field. It's not that strange.
Just imagine you're trying to sleep and then you touch your cold feet.
That already happens. Again, the
Yeah.
reality,
There you go. That's so true. What if I had one really icy eyebrow? That'd be
Hey,
like
you
a
touched
cool
my
one.
eyebrow.
Like, hey. Would it be kind of like a little like frosty looking as well?
Why do I always get the feeling that
That's a
Christy
look.
gives me a cold stare?
Yeah. Exactly. Whoa, wait, could you have like icy eyeballs?
That sounds horrible.
I don't think
Could
that's a
you-
good idea.
Could you feel it? Like how often could I
I
feel
think
my own
so.
eyes? Yeah, you would be
I
able
think
to.
you
Okay.
would if they were icy cold.
Cool. Okay. Good to know.
You it's like the things in your body where it's like, you block out your nose from your vision, you breathe automatically. You eliminate one of those things by making your eye really cold.
I don't know. I feel like if you made your eye really cold, I feel like you just have a constant migraine.
Ooh.
Oh
ugh.
fuck. Jesus
Ooh.
Christ. Yeah, no, you're so right. Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, as somebody who's had some migraines, those fucking suck. So
I don't think I've ever had a migraine, but I do get like ice pick headaches. Has anyone experienced those?
like brain freeze.
Sure, but they're not associated to anything. I could just be hanging out and then it's just like it's called ice pick because it's like someone just stabbed you in the brain and it's like very painful.
I think I've had a couple of those.
Yeah. Not fun, I will say.
It's just like a random onset, like you're just doing whatever, and then like all of a sudden you're having like a full body reaction.
Yeah, it's like because like a normal headache, you're like, oh, it's like an ache, like yeah, this hurts. But
Yeah.
like an ice pick one, it's like it like takes me back. Like I'll be doing something, I'm like, oh, like Jesus, like
Yeah,
very
I've had a few of
very
those.
sudden. Yeah. So I don't want that. I'll stick to my cool eyebrow.
I'll stick with my cool hair or my cold shoulder.
There you go. Cold shoulder.
This is Ryan. He's got the cold shoulder.
I got the cold feet in real life and the cold shoulder in this scenario.
I love it.
Just the actual physical things that are figuratively something else. Great.
Well, and the next time we have an after party, being cold will be relevant again.
Yep. I'm gonna buy some nice socks.
Oh, I thought you meant because it would be like January. Not
Oh,
'cause we'd
no.
be-
That's actually what I thought too. I was like,
Oh, that's also what I thought.
We'll
Yeah, I'm
also
like, it's
be in
cold
line
right
with
now.
our peaks by
Relevant.
then, spoilers, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I'm with you. I'm understanding. I'm following. Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up. So I think we got all the answers we needed about being cold. So thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with us as we discussed everything to do with this past episode, number 39, Pacts Made, Pacts Broken. If you have any questions in the future about Play Dicey that you would like us to answer, please send them to me on Twitter at cbkklo or email them to me at cbkklo@gmail.com. And that is all for us. We invite you to join us next time on Play Dicey After Party. Goodbye. Keep it frosty.
Goodbye.
Bye.